become violent and overthrow the government, we would have been more violent in the building than out. But what you see is that when you review the video,
because
it
nobody
actually
was
was at very select locations.
Because nobody was in the. You were going in. The whole point of going in was to stop the certification of the election. Congress certifies the election. The reason that there was no violence in the building is because they were going through looking for fucking Congress people to arrest, but they couldn't find anybody. Like, they couldn't find anybody because they had already been evacuated. Obviously, there wasn't much violence because the whole reason that you broke in, all the people were gone.
Quite frankly, you need to subscribe to Rinnycast.
A cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you tonight. Recently, the White House have put out a January 6th page where it claims
We did a
that the
podcast about
Democrats
this.
are the real insurrectionists. And it goes
I did a podcast about this. It's on members only. So if you want to watch me talk about this timeline, okay, become a member, become a channel member. All right, fairly inexpensive, and yeah. If not, then there's going to be a clip coming out of it later. But I didn't tell you that. This is the equivalent of debating OJ on if he did the murder. Yes, true, it is.
through a timeline of events that a lot of people contest. Dev and Destiny have agreed to take on all comers on this and to talk about whether or
I could
not
have been here.
it was appropriate for the White House to make these updates, whether these updates were accurate or not. And we have a whole host of people to talk about it with us, including ENRIQUE, TARRIO, Gibbs, we got Grid, we got Kung Fu Joe, all sorts of people. We're going to get into it. I guess, yeah, that's the first question for you guys, and we'll just kind of get into it.
By the way, so just for preface, obviously I've never talked to Enrique Tarrio about this or any of the other people on here, but I have talked to I've talked to Destiny before, I've talked to Gibbs before, I've talked to Wick before, obviously. That Joe Gacy guy, our stream rift, I think is what he goes by when he goes on Wick, is super fucking stupid. I hate him. Grid is not very smart, Biggs is not very smart, so this should be pretty much a cakewalk. But I've been a little disappointed in Destiny's performances over the past little bit, so I guess we'll have to see how it turns out.
The White House's portrayal of January 6th on their website accurate? Why or why not? Anyone can start. Go ahead.
I guess just on some basic language stuff, can we all agree that Trump never, in any part of that ellipse speech, he never called for peace or told people to be peaceful. He never said any of those words because he used explicitly at least once, and he never explicitly said, "You guys need to be peaceful. You need to
like
go
Twitter
march."
did stop him from saying "be peaceful." As soon as he said we need to be peaceful, then they deleted his tweet, canceled his account, whatever, and made it impossible for him to actually proclaim "please go be peaceful." So that's one thing that I think we can agree happened.
Well, that's cool. So I'm going to ask my question again. So the speech in the ellipse, the hour speech or whatever, he never told people to be peaceful. That was never a command he gave. That was never a thing that he explicitly said ever. That was just never a thing that was said. But for some reason, people repeat this. I just want to make sure we all agree on that. That at the ellipse speech, he never told people you need to be peaceful. You guys should be peaceful. He never said anything. He didn't say that.
Yeah, you're being really narrow with that. Yep, that's true.
Well, I mean, like afterwards, people went to the Capitol and they, at the very least, rioted, so they weren't peaceful. So yeah, I would like to. I think if we're going to make a
you're talking about his rhetoric, though.
Website,
You're changing the where we're looking. You're
well,
saying,
no,
well, this one part of the one
saying,
speech that he gave this one day.
Are you asking if he said specifically the word peaceful? Like, are you nitpicking people, one word?
So on the WhiteHouse.gov website, they claim, they claim that, hold on, let me look for it explicitly. So it says,
just to the host, I'm sorry. To the host, I can cuss here, right? Is there certain words I can't say?
No, nothing that would get me demonetized. So no F slurs, no hard R's, nothing like that. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Other than that, he's called retard, fuck, all that shit.
I'm getting fucked.
Okay. Cool.
So on the White House website, at Save America rallies, their second timestamp, it says he stresses the need to fight for the country through strength and determination, explicitly calling for peaceful protest. I just want to be clear, that never happened. That part is a lie on the side. At the very least, we can agree that that's a lie.
So he never said the words peacefully and patriotically during that speech.
No, that's
Is that what
that's
you're
He never
definitely
told
possible.
people to go do that. He said that I know you'll go marching peacefully and patriotic or whatever, but he never explicitly said. He never called for. That was
I
never
mean,
explicitly called for.
that's super nuanced, dude.
I always super nuanced. Nuance is a good term. Okay, you should be nuanced. Although I will say I never found this argument. I know Destiny talked about this argument a lot. I always found it super unsatisfying, just because like, I don't feel like it's satisfying to anybody, right? Like I feel like most people can reasonably hear, "I know you'll be peaceful," as like, you know, an expectation of the president that they would want to adhere to, right? Like if I was wanted to tell somebody to be peaceful, and I said, "I know you'll be peaceful," right? Like I can see that as a command, right? In the same way that if I say like, "I know you'll be safe" to my daughter as she's going out, right? I can understand how that would be an expectation of telling her, like how she should take the expectation, "Hey, I should be careful while I'm out there," right? Because he said, "I know you'll be careful." I could see the same argument being made. Like if you say, "I know you'll be peaceful," you can construe that as like reasonably construe that as an expectation from the president to be peaceful. I never found this to be like a super satisfying argument from Destiny.
Dude. If he says like peacefully and patriotically, I think that's the key. And I think there was a lot of people, including myself, pissed off that day. And to kind of hit what the host, the question for the host, for 4 years, we've been fed nothing but like bullshit and slop from the Biden administration about what happened on January 6th. Now that January 6ers are actually out, we get to say our piece, and I think people get to see both sides of the story, and they get to not make a binary choice. Maybe they agree with me on some things, maybe they agree with Destiny on other things, or other liberals. And I find it fascinating now that like we're nitpicking words when he's explicitly said that peacefully and patriotically make your way over to the Capitol, and then on top of that,
He didn't say that. So
somebody
what you
else,
just said, you
somebody
used the
else
word
went ahead.
explicitly. I don't know if you
Hold
know what
on one
explicitly
second.
means, but
Let-
that
let-
was
let him
What he
finish.
said.
one fact at a
Jesus
time.
Christ.
Just one fact at a time.
So
right?
he goes ahead and on top of that, his tweets got deleted, and you silence the president of the United States right after that. I don't think it was ever his intention to tell anybody. I mean, I sat through courts through 6 months. I don't think at any point did he think people were going to storm into the Capitol and storm the building or do anything. I think he wanted people to protest outside. And as somebody that, again, was
That's cool. Okay,
planning
so
on being there.
I'm going to read the sentence here, okay? I
Go
know
ahead.
that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. He didn't tell them you need to be peaceful. You need to go and be peaceful. You need to go and not commit. He didn't explicitly say that ever. He just said, "I know you'll be
Looks like
marching
you're
over soon."
Well, who
completely
cares?
full of
Like,
something.
what is he? What is he
Good
supposed to
answer.
say? Hey, don't shoot! Don't shoot it! Don't
You can say it's not a big deal.
don't
That's
do
fine.
this.
Can I give the
That's
exact
negative.
quote? Can I give the
You can't
exact
prove
quote?
it negative.
One at a time. Destiny, finish your question. Then Enrique can answer it. And I know Tim wants in too. Is that your name? I'm sorry, Tim.
Yeah,
The full quote is, at the ellipse, President Trump speaks to hundreds of thousands of supporters, detailing evidence of election fraud and urging the crowd to march to the Capitol to, quote, peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard, end quote. There is no urging the crowd there. He just says he'll know they'll do it. There is no urging. It's about an hour-long speech where he talks about voter fraud. He says we need to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country. He calls everybody in Congress weak. He's here to protest the results of the election. So I just think it's a little bit rich to pretend that there were explicit calls for peace in this. There wasn't. And this was like one thing he said almost at the beginning of the speech. Yeah.
Hey, every time you leave the house, like when you were a kid and you just got your driver's license, does your mom say, "Oh, don't crash"? Like it's retarded to even think that he has to say that every time that he comes out. He said, "You guys are going to peacefully and patriotically march towards." So like, if we're going to play on words,
So we're talking about the problem here. This is a tracking issue from Enrique, by the way. We're talking about the accuracy of this page, right? He brings up a specific quote from the White House page that is untrue. It's framed incorrectly. No matter if I think that the argument from Destiny is satisfying explanation, it is true that he never urged people to be peaceful. He just said, "I know you will be." Right. And it's one thing to say like, "Oh, well, he shouldn't need to. These are grown adults." Like, I guess that's fine. Now it arises different questions of like, well, why did he wait so long to tell them even after it's already been clear that they're not going to be peaceful? But like, you can say that, oh, well, he's not these people's parents. He has no obligation to. I guess you could say that, right? But to use his example, like, oh, when you just got your driver's license, did your parents always tell you to not crash? Well, no, I guess not, right? But if my parents wrote a timeline about my car accident and they said that every single time I went out the door, they said, don't crash, and they didn't, that's inaccurate, right? Like, it doesn't matter if he has an obligation to or not. If you're claiming that you did, you need to have actually done it, and he didn't.
Washington, D.C. to protest the results of the election. Maybe that would be a good thing to say when he's kind of gotten everybody riled up, and he's also saying you need to fight like hell or you're going to lose your country. Maybe it would be a good idea to really stress the peaceful part, especially considering what happened afterwards, right?
Like he did. He said, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. That's his speech.
Yeah, that is a line that he said, yes. But
Isn't you saying he just didn't say don't be peaceful?
I'm saying he didn't explicitly call it to do it. And I would argue there's stronger calls for explicitly for violence when he says, and we fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. That seems a little bit more of a command. And it's at the end of the speech as opposed to the other thing that was towards the beginning of the speech. It's an hour-long speech. I'm just saying there weren't all these explicit calls for peace. He didn't say, you guys need to remain peaceful. Nothing like that. He just said, I know you'll be marching over there peacefully and patriotically, make your voice heard. That's it. It's not a huge point. You don't lose the whole argument by giving this. I want to make sure we're all
do you think that he knew? Do you think that he knew that he was that the crowd was going to peacefully and patriotically march over there? Like, he didn't give a marching order like, hey, go storm the Capitol. Hey, go stop the certification election. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy is what he's saying. Like, you don't expect the crowd. I didn't expect the crowd to do that. I know a lot of people, a lot of liberals think that I went over there to go stop the certification election. I wasn't going to do that. And I didn't need the president to tell me to be peaceful and patriotically. I was already both of those.
Guy, by the way, this guy's a total fucking liar, by the way. He got arrested he wasn't even at the Capitol, so I don't know why he's framing it like he was. The only reason he wasn't at the Capitol is because he got arrested in DC for carrying high-capacity magazines. So he wasn't allowed in DC at the time of the riot. But he got arrested and indicted as the leader of the Proud Boys for coordinating a conspiracy to stop the certification of the election explicitly with those aims. So why he's just blatantly lying. I don't know why so many people go on, especially J6ers, because this is the same thing that happened to the dude that I talked to. I don't know why these J6ers come on and then just lie and hope you don't know anything about their case. I guess the guy that I talked to is a little more excusable. But Enrique Tarrio, really? You think you can lie about the details of your case?
Those things.
Well, so you did know that the Capitol was going to be broken into. It had already happened by the time that speech was over, right? The Proud Boys had literally organized to do this. You guys were involved in breaking through all three of the outer barriers, and then finally with Dominic to break into the actual Capitol with the riot shield. So you did know that was going to happen in advance, right? You were in the Capitol the night before, and you left because I was there for your arrest.
So
yeah.
I'll ask you, I asked the prosecutors and defense team, what evidence do you have that I knew that was going to happen? Because you said it as an absolute. So what evidence do you have that I thought that was going to happen? Because my messages in court, even given by the prosecution, doesn't show that. It shows that I'm like, holy shit, this is happening. I probably, actually, as a matter of fact, Destiny, you probably found out about the storming of the Capitol before I did.
I thought that you were convicted for this. Didn't you lose in front of a jury on this?
If you consider a jury that during their questioning, right, and said that
I do. So we can I do consider that a legitimate jury. Yes, and you did.
Okay, yeah, you could consider it. But
so okay, so what's
I mean, I hope one day when you face any assault charges or anything or sexual assault charges that you're convicted of a jury that hates your guts. Then they put me in the jury because the first thing I'm going to do is find you guilty.
Okay. I want to hear from some other people here. I want to hear from Tim.
Just to be clear, also, real quick. So everything in the indictment, all of your messages about your plans.
What messages? Can you point one message? Just show me one message, please.
Do you want me to read down the indictment to have you reject
yes, please.
Is that what you
go
want?
ahead. We got all night here.
He's getting that up.
I don't got nothing to do here, bro. So if you want to look at the indictment, go ahead.
Yeah, while he's getting that up, I do want to hear from some other people in the crowd. I want to hear from Tim here.
Yeah, tell me about my 6-month trial.
Right,
I'd love for you to be a professional.
Right. So go ahead, Tim, then Dev, and then we'll get you Kung Fu Joe and Gibbs and Grid. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted clarification. The first thing I was going to do was with the speech, because that was the prelude to this. But Destiny, I think he wanted to limit it to specifically saying, for regarding, for after the fact. But I mean, are we ignoring the tweets that he gave at 2:38 and 3:13? He specifically does use the words peaceful. He says, "Stay peaceful" for the first one and remain peaceful, or
stay
peaceful for the second one.
So
what is?
To be fair, okay, I'm gonna put this in the same boat as the initial statement during the speech. I think these can be reasonably construed as the crowd taking the president as having an expectation to be peaceful, right? That's putting an expectation on the crowd. So I do think that those do suffice for calls for peace technically. Now, the one that happened at 2 p.m., I don't think that was a... I mean, it's possible because that's a later time than I thought. So maybe he did call to be peaceful on that one. That was not the first remark that he made to the already violent rioters, by the way. But also, to be fair, that's not engaging with Destiny's argument because those are not calls to be peaceful under Destiny's view either, right? Those are calls to remain peaceful. That's not a call to action. That's a call for complacency. That's a call to remain the same way that you have been, right? So this doesn't satisfy Destiny's burden here. Destiny would not be satisfied by this because he's asking for a call to be peaceful, not a call to do the same exact things that you have been doing already. Right.
Is the contention about the word peaceful and when it was used specifically?
Yeah, so he made those tweets when there was already violence breaking out. So when he says remain peaceful, that's nonsense. And people were begging him to call people to go home. So like people like Ashley Babbitt got killed because he refused to make that call for people to go home because he was hoping that Congress would break down and give in to the desire for him to have the vote switch.
Congress had already been removed at that point. So that's a stupid thing to say. You know better than that.
Yeah, Congress
Did they
already
not come
adjourned.
back that night?
Yeah, they came back later that night, but after all of the rioters had been removed, sir. I mean, that's a dumb thing to say.
That's correct. Yes, after they removed the rioters, which people wanted to happen, they came back and they re-adjourned in order to finish the count. Correct. Thank you for doing the logical order of events. So Tarrio, when you were saying,
hold on, but that doesn't.
I'm just checking to see if these messages are real. So when you posted a message that said "fuck unity, no quarter, raise the black flag," was that a message that you posted in a group chat?
I posted it on social media, yeah. And I'm 100%. I said that. I celebrated it.
Okay.
If I'm guilty of celebrating it, then yes. And that was in social media.
Political prisoners, we won't go quietly. I promise. Is that a thing that you posted?
Yeah, that was in November.
Okay.
That was in November.
You need to remember, we're at war with a virus, not with each other. You need to remember the American people are at war with you. No Trump, no peace, no quarter. Right? These are your messages.
When did those tweets happen? Remind me when those tweets happened.
In November of 2020.
In November of 2020, was January 6th an event? Did January 6th, the event at January 6th, did that ever get announced before November of 2020? Can you tell me the day that it got announced that was going to be a rally?
I'm just making sure that so far in the indictment you agree to.
It doesn't. Unless you're saying I wasn't expecting January 6th to be a violent incursion into the Capitol. Is it really satisfying to say I expected a different event to be a violent incursion to keep Donald Trump to be the president? I'm sorry. Like, just because you didn't expect to overturn the results of the election specifically on January 6th, that doesn't meaningfully speak to anything, right? Like, you still were aiming to overturn the results of the election because no Trump, no peace, right? Like, what do you think you're even contesting here, Enrique?
I'm fucking Nostradamus, and I know that some rally's going to happen in the future. Do you expect me in November to be tweeting about some shit?
Also, he was coordinating. I'd have to check. I'd have to read the indictment back. He was coordinating the invasion of the Capitol. I don't know when this was. This was probably in December, if I'm being honest. But yeah, you coordinated it.
That I didn't even know was going to happen. An event that I didn't even know was going to happen.
We know that on January, I'm pretty sure the Electoral Count Act literally calls out the date of the certification of the election. So we all knew in advance.
That's December 12th.
January 6th.
That's a month before I tweeted that.
No. So, yeah. That's the safe harbor date the states have to certify their electors. The election itself is certified on January 6th at the federal level. That's when you're deemed the president. Right. You're not inaugurated yet, but you're certified the winner of the election.
December 12th on the election certification? I thought that was January 6th.
No, it's not January 6th. As a matter of fact, you got that wrong. The certification of Congress, the counting of it happens on December 12th.
Just real quick, I do want to make sure that Tim gets a chance to get in here. He's been trying.
Okay, sorry, Tim.
Fuck. Enrique Tarrio is just fucking retarded.
Yeah, we knew when the certification was going to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean people knew that the rally was going to happen, in which case you still have to create the nexus between the rally and his supposed urging people to riot, which, that didn't actually happen. But I'm just trying to understand, you're dismissing the tweets that happened in after 2 o'clock and after 3 o'clock because they happened after the speech. But in the speech, he also says peaceful. But you're saying he didn't direct people to be peaceful. He just acknowledged it. Isn't that inferred?
He should have told people to go home because it had already gotten violent.
So you're unhappy that he didn't say specific words?
I don't like that.
No, he should. Well, at that point, people should have gone home. He should have said, "You need to leave." It wasn't peaceful. It was a riot at that point.
If he says
So
to
you wanted him
to be peaceful,
the
that
initial contention. My understanding. I'm sorry, Grid. I thought the initial
beyond splitting hairs.
I thought the
I'm
initial
not beyond
contention.
splitting hairs. It's very easy. So if there's a riot happening at the Capitol and you have the ability to tell your people to go home, you should probably tell your people to go home.
You wanted him to tell people to go home in the middle of the speech when he says to be peaceful.
You were just
'Cause I
talking about his
thought the
tweets that he
contention-
made hours later at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Which one do you want to talk about?
But I thought you were complaining about the fact that he didn't direct people to be peaceful in the speech when he said, "I know you will be peaceful."
Well, yes,
So I
but that's
just wanna
because
clarify.
I'm just going through the whitehouse.gov J6 site and I'm going through the timeline on the claim thing, right? And the second claim for the Save America rally is President Trump delivers powerful speech. That was just the very first one I was looking at.
I don't even think
I was just starting with that one.
I don't even think it's worth getting in the weeds of what he
Okay,
said. He
that's
said
fine.
peacefully and
believe you.
patriotically. Like we don't need a 10-minute discussion on what those words mean and how he meant it.
Well, can I?
I mean,
He also did say, just to be clear, he said we have to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country, right? How would you describe
yeah,
the
I
event?
think
How
so.
would you
Yeah,
describe the
yeah.
events that
I
unfolded
agree.
over the next 4 hours? How would you describe the events that unfolded? What did it seem was more happening? That people were fighting like hell because they thought they were going to lose their country, or that they were marching peacefully and patriotically?
Mostly
I think
that.
95% of the people,
Mostly
I believe
peacefully and
95% of the
patriotically
people that were there on
based.
J6, all they did was walk in. They didn't touch a fucking cop. They didn't break a window. They didn't do any of that. If you want to talk about the 5%, look, I don't agree. I don't agree with the assaults. I've said this. I said this on January 6th in the evening after seeing it. I said it on national television. I said it on CNN and I said it on Univision. I can't vibe with people assaulting police officers. I think that they should have been arrested. I don't think that the problem was, I still think that they should be pardoned, not for their actions, but because of how justice
Why do we care about
was
any of this? I don't
administered.
know what we're talking about now. This doesn't do anything.
Well, no, well,
So
I
you
really
agree-
don't care
I
about
heard-
you talking
I heard-
about the
I heard that you
president's
said
words.
95% were peaceful. So that
95% were peaceful.
Okay, so then 5,000, 10,000 people were rioting then, if the president's own words are to be believed.
Is
because
that
they
the
say
number
one-
of people?
It
Do
was
you believe
about
5 or
100,000.
10,000
They say
people
there,
walked into the Capitol that day?
Yeah, there was
On
about
the-
100,000 people, I believe, is the number of protesters.
On the
that-
site, they say hundreds of thousands, so 5,000 to 10,000 violent rioters.
No. I'm asking you, is that the number? Are you citing the number of people that went inside the Capitol or the number of people that attended the rally?
I'm giving what they had as attended the rally on the White House.
I'm not asking what they give you. I'm asking what you know.
I know that around 1,600 people were charged. I don't know how many people went into the building altogether. I don't have the count on that, so I don't know.
So you don't know what the 5? We could just say 5%. We don't got to go with the number because it wasn't.
We don't gotta go with the
thousands
number.
of
We could
people
just
that
make
went
up a
in.
we could just make up a
Rick,
number.
1.5%. But it was a small number. I mean,
Well, because only a small number of people even got to the building, right? That's how it works. Like in any riot, it's probably like 1 to 5% of people that are being violent, right?
There were probably thousands of people in the building. I was one of them. And Enrique, I think this is, like you said, well, I would say it's beside the point because if you want to address the violence, it happened in very select areas and there was a context behind it, such as the Lower West Terrace Tunnel. It actually, one of the biggest reasons it wasn't an insurrection is that it got less violent when people got inside the building. If they were going to, become violent and overthrow the government, we would have been more violent in the building than out. But what you see is that when you review the video,
because
it
nobody
actually
was
at very select locations.
Because nobody was in you were going in. The whole point of going in was to stop the certification of the election. Congress certifies the election. The reason that there was no violence in the building is because they were going through looking for fucking Congress people to arrest, but they couldn't find anybody. Like, they couldn't find anybody because they had already been evacuated. Obviously, there wasn't much violence because the whole reason that you broke in, all the people were gone. Like, well, you couldn't have done anything in the first place. Yeah, obviously.
Because people were incited. There were provocateurs. I agree with Enrique. Not everybody who was there was a good person.
Yeah, so to be clear, the incitement was you trying to break through where cops were. When people were inside the building, they weren't violent because they didn't even know what they were supposed
What
to
do
do.
you mean
at that
by
point.
you? What do you mean by you? Are you talking to me, or are you talking to
the general you? Because he's talking about the protesters not being violent once they got inside the building because they didn't have much to be violent against because all of the congressmen.
So you're saying, so you're agreeing with me and Tim and saying that some protesters were violent. Yeah, I agree with you. Some protesters were violent. I believe that they should. I believe that they should be arrested, and I believe that they should have gotten some time in prison. Yes, I don't believe that they should have gotten 10, 20 years.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do want
And I don't believe it's like you said,
before anyone else
Destiny.
goes, hold on just real quick. Before anyone else goes, I do want to make sure that Dev gets a chance to have his say and come in and give us what he's got. And I do see Gibbs, Kung Fu Joe over there, and we're going to get you in here in a second. Dev, go ahead. Give us what you think.
Yeah, I've just been listening. This is kind of crazy. Just because I don't know who you are, the guy with the green background, but you were talking about Trump's tweets. And I mean, while the riot was happening, you expect a decent, competent, good leader to try to calm people down. That's what you expect them to say. But I mean, at 2:24 p.m., Donald Trump tweeted, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. Now, that statement, is that going to calm people down or rile people up, do you think?
Well, I can tell you from my own experience, it didn't rile me up. I actually, at that point, I actually wrongfully assumed when I read that tweet, I was already in the crypt.
Why is he answering from his own personal experience? What are we doing?
Well,
because he was there.
I'm offering a perspective because I was asked, "What do you think?"
Okay,
I'm telling
fair
you.
enough. How about everyone else's perspective then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think most.
You're asking to give other people's perspective that's not here.
He can give his own
kind of how reality works. We kind of speak for how we think people are generally like motivated by things or what might cause people to do things. Are we incapable here?
He's a people.
Here, you know what? I'm going to tell you exactly what people thought. I'm going to tell you exactly what
let's not generalize to some bullshit. Just stay on the specific things.
No, I'm going to give you exactly what people thought, and I'm going to give you my specific thought.
Pence had failed. What did Pence fail?
So,
what did that mean?
So anybody who thinks that the only reason, excuse me, I think anybody who thinks that the only reason that people went into the Capitol is because Trump told them that the election was stolen is a retard. I think they weren't looking backwards. And it started with Hillary Clinton in September of 2016 calling Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables. Then you take us off social media, then you go ahead and you definance us, you deplatform us, you shut down our businesses during COVID, right? You allow the summer of love to happen unchecked, and the straw that broke the camel's back,
one at a time, both of you,
is somebody stole the fucking election. So yeah, we were pissed off about a million fucking things. Yeah. Well, there's a million things that we're pissed off about. It wasn't just
for January 6th. Why were people at the Capitol? What were they there for?
We were there to fucking peacefully protest the stolen election.
Who called them there?
Oh, they already did.
President Trump called us.
I need to ask a question.
At the ellipse.
I gotta ask this. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because do you truly believe that people, absent Trump, absent his speech, that they wouldn't have been people like showing up angry at the Capitol that day? Is that your claim?
Absent him inviting them there? Nah, maybe 1,000, maybe.
Without the Save America rally, without the Stop the Steal protest, no, there wouldn't be people in the Capitol showing up like that.
Leading up to that day, from the time of the election, not including Trump, that would have motivated enough angry people to show up that day.
Well, I can tell you what the other factors are. It's actually really easy. There was a whole bunch of people online who were posting. There's a whole bunch of people online.
No, hold on.
No. I'm going to answer
your question.
I'm going to answer you. There's a whole bunch of people online who are posting about how Mike Pence has the power to send back the electors so that Trump can steal the election, and everyone was hyping themselves up for this bullshit. That's why you guys went there. It was retarded.
Yep.
No. That's not the only thing I'm talking about. Like, I have a list of things that factually happened, and whether or not you can observe them through 2020, vision, like from now, doesn't matter, because we had so little time.
Whether or not you can observe them now, it doesn't matter.
Expanded mail-in voting due to COVID-19.
Who cares?
Late night vote count pauses and updates in key states. Changes to the election procedures.
So what he's saying right now, is it doesn't matter if the election was rigged. We thought it was, so we're gonna overthrow the government. Duh. Everybody would do that. Don't you think that if this totally explainable thing that's happened in every election ever happens, that gives us justification to overthrow the election? Hello?
not done yet. I'm not done yet.
They
I'm
had
not
their
done
day in
yet.
court.
Thank you
You
very much.
lost on every
Hold on,
single one of these.
Buddy,
All of them.
did you not just
Every
hear
single
what
one.
I just said?
It's cute. He
Did you
believes
not
in the
hear what I
justice
just
The
system.
courts have litigated all
Hold
of these.
on.
You lost.
Hold on. No. That you obviously weren't listening. If you listen, you could hear me better. What I said was what happened by the time January 6th rolled around, we didn't have the time and like 8 hours a day for years on end. No, we didn't have years like you did. No, we didn't.
You did.
Okay, between January 6th and the election, the determination of the election, how much time was there?
A few months, but there was enough time that almost every single claim that Donald Trump brought up in his speech had already been debunked thoroughly, and none of them, absolutely zero of them, have held up today. So apparently there was enough time.
That's not true. Hold on.
Democrats were saying that mail-in voting is the most unreliable form of voting. Democrats said that. That's something that's not going to change.
Who asked?
Well, we sit here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the White House posted
answer.
I want to hear from Gibbs. Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, so the White House posted this thing, and I really feel it's important that we kind of like analyze it in the 2026 light, actually. What did they say? It says, in truth, it was the Democrats who staged the real insurrection by certifying the fraud-ridden election, including widespread irregularities and weaponizing federal agencies, all right? So we're sitting and look at this. Now we're looking at right now what's happening.
Quoting? Wait, who was that even a quote from?
That's on
That is
the
from the
White
page.
House page, whitehouse.gov, the whole thing that we're here, literally posted and said, this is what we're debating today.
Well, okay,
I don't know. Sorry. Anyway,
point?
well, I would like to get to it. Thank you. 1 second, please. Anyway, and so when we look at it in 2026 and we see all the fraud and we see places like Minnesota where we now have evidence that 197 duplicate ballots were posted. Yes, we do. We do have that. It was just by the Congress just a couple days ago. Maybe keep up to date. We have that. We see evidence of the fraud. We see evidence of this NGOs paying for it. The Trump administration has been saying from day one.
By the way, no, there's a reason that he's not going into depth. Duplicate ballots? What? Duplicate ballots? What? Sent out? Like the mail-in ballots? I know a couple got sent out to multiple, or a couple homes got multiple ballots. So, does that prove anything?
When this went down, that they're basically having some sort of system in place to rig the election. So they're the real insurrectionists by subverting the will of the voters, and that's what we're seeing has happened. They use the fraud system.
Why didn't Trump said this coming in 2016? They had 4 years to find it. Why did Trump not find anything?
Oh yeah, because Biden's going to be investigating himself whenever he gets put in power, huh? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Come on, man.
No.
Yes. Joe Biden. Why do you think the Her report came out? What do you think the Her report was? Joe Biden was literally being investigated for classified documents under himself. Yes, it literally happened. Yes.
Well, Trump said there was rampant voter fraud for the 2016 election. He was in office for 4 years after. They found nothing. He put together a commission to find it. They found nothing.
And yet now we're finding all sorts of stuff, though. So
no, we're not.
Crazy
but I didn't ask
now
about
we
now.
cleaned out more stuff.
I said he had 4 years.
I'm talking about now, though.
We
can talk about 4 years ago.
Well, no, you weren't talking about now. You brought up a quote from 2016. So you want to talk about now? If you want to talk about now, Why don't we have any fraud from this election? He said there was millions of illegal voting. We don't have any fraud.
Right? The quote I just read from 3 days ago. You realize that, right?
I'm asking you, where is the evidence of the voter fraud? The rampant voter fraud in 2016, in 2020.
We literally have evidence right now that 197 duplicates votes were cast in Minnesota's election and 137,000.
Duplicate votes being cast doesn't mean duplicate votes being counted. That doesn't prove fraud, dumb fuck. But
is what it costs to beat him, right? And so, yeah, clearly something was going on when we have billions in fraud and 197,000 duplicate votes in a state.
Also, I don't even trust that. Hold on, let me see. I don't even trust that. What is he even citing? Fuck. This is why I miss the days of the source bros. I miss the days of being a source bro. I don't even know what he's citing. I'm not even seeing anything that shows that amount of duplicate votes cast. Which, by the way, keep in mind, even if they were cast, it doesn't matter, right? That they weren't counted. Votes cast doesn't mean votes counted, right? But I'm not even seeing anything to show that these votes were even cast.
And it's a state where, guess what? Timmy Walls is the VP candidate. Come on, bro. There's some kind of collusion here. That's the real insurrection.
Okay, right. I am curious. Something Enrique said at the beginning of the show, that people have been fed a lie about January 6th. If you could have, if there is one lie you could point to that the Biden administration or the Democrats or whoever has been saying about January 6th, what would you say that lie is? And then we can see if Dev and Destiny, what they think about that. What do you think, Enrique?
So to say something that I don't want to argue about, but just saying it's an insurrection was all bullshit. But to be more specific, and specific to my
really
case,
want to argue about it,
that we decided to plan to commit an act of sedition, which is one step on the treason for people that don't know that, to overthrow by force the United States government is bullshit. And they ran with this narrative, and they ran with this Tom Clancy novel. Because if you read not only my indictment, if you sat through the 6 months of my trial and you read all the bullshit that went on in the trial and how they wanted to paint it, I think that's one of the biggest miscarriages of justice and the biggest miscarriage of a PR campaign by the DOJ. So much so that I think I'm happy that I got 22 years, because it opened people's eyes and was like, well, you know what? I don't like this guy, but he doesn't deserve 22 years because, you know, these facts are the case. And in my case, you know, we had FBI agents embedded within the group. We had CIs that were informing about the Proud Boys before January 6th and at January 6th, and not a single one of them did the prosecution put on the stand. So just to close up here, I think them blaming. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just closing up. But for the most part, I think hold on a sec. Hey, dude. Hey. Let me finish. And then you can go ahead and do your own shit. Yeah, just mute yourself for a second. So check this out. So I think in closing, I think just the narrative that went behind this seditious conspiracy with the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, it's bullshit. You want to get some of them. You want to get Dominic. Look, you want to get Dominic Pizzola for breaking a window. You could go ahead and break a window, and he'd be charged for it. You know what? I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to keep talking for a second. If you want to get Dominic Pizzola for breaking a window, then absolutely go ahead. He'll tell you himself that he shouldn't have broken a window. And I'm unmuting.
The Proud Boys were the ones that broke through initially, right? They were the first ones in, right?
No, they weren't the first ones to break in.
They weren't the first one. So there wasn't, let me just be clear. So there wasn't a group of about 100 Proud Boys while Trump was still speaking that made.
There wasn't even 100 Proud Boys in the ground on January 6th. So let's start with correction.
Okay. How many would you say there were? 52.
52.
Okay.
Yes.
Was there a group of about 50 Proud Boys during Trump's speech that were already making their way to the Capitol that broke through the outer perimeter, then the second one, and then eventually broke through the window with the riot shield via Dominic? Was that all the Proud Boys?
No, apparently you don't know about the Dominic Pizzola. So we'll start with the Dominic Pizzola and work our way down. So with Dominic Pizzola, Dominic wasn't the one that initially broke the window, and he wasn't the last one to pull the window. He wasn't even the one that went in. He's just the one that conveniently was not. That window was already broken. You want to pull up the video and take a look at the cracked window?
So
I welcome you to do so.
If the window's cracked, it's not broken.
Broke through the window with the riot Proud Boy.
He broke. He finished breaking. He didn't even finish breaking the window because the window was still not accessible, and somebody else pulled down the window. I go ahead and I challenge you and I say, pull up the video and we could discuss Dominic Pizzola.
And if he wants to, if he wants to, we can. So my question is when you tweeted out that you were proud of my boys in my country, okay?
Yes. At what time was that?
What were you referring there? You tell me. When you said you
I was saying I was talking to the crowd. So let me listen. You could hit me for a lot of things, but the things that you're talking about, you can't. Right? I had direct communications with my guys via Telegram at the time. Right? So if I didn't want them to leave, why isn't there a message from me directly to them saying, don't fucking leave, just keep going? I put that message out on Parler, which is similar to Twitter, right, to the public. I was celebrating it. If that's what I'm guilty of, then
Baker.
fucking lock me away for 22 years. But how the fuck are you going to tell me for tweeting when you've tweeted so much fucking worse shit that you should probably be in prison for, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then don't
so it
fucking
was
leave.
the Proud Boys who were in first, right? You were tweeting out, "I'm proud of my boys
The
and
Proud
my
Boys,
country."
we've
Don't
established
fucking
that the
leave,
Proud Boys
right?
weren't
And
the
they'd already
first ones
broken
in,
in.
so
and
we
you
can
said
clear
they
that
were
out of the
first ones
thing.
over
Let
to the outer
Destiny
perimeter
finish
and
now.
over-
Let Destiny
right?
finish
So
his
you
thought.
knew that they were breaking in. You were proud of them for doing
I did
so.
not know
and
they
you
were
first on
breaking
the
in.
stage. Really,
I did
you
not
had
know they
no
were breaking
idea.
in.
Okay,
No, I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't turn on the
because I
TV.
got the video.
Go
I
ahead,
grabbed the
Dev.
video. You
Can you
look at
send
it
it
if
to
you
me and
want.
I can play it for you?
I've DM'd it to you.
Yeah,
You can
please.
watch it.
Give me a second.
First guy, it goes by Red on Red Glasses. If you want to search the Sedition Hunter hashtag, it's an Indian-looking fella.
Okay, give
Red
me
on Red
1
Glasses.
second.
They throw a 2x4 through the window first.
We'll see it in a moment. I just gotta. I'm juggling all my thing.
I can also throw this out there. There have been many attempts to get information from the government about who these individuals are, and little effort by the prosecution to identify these people. So I know Dominic as well. I did time with him. So I know for a fact he wouldn't be capable of planning an insurrection.
Okay, it's about a minute-long video.
Too
We'll go
retarded to
watch.
plan an
You click on
insurrection
the
for him.
Watch stream. We can all watch
Can
together.
we start with the windows broken?
Okay,
Can everybody see that? It's cracked.
right there.
A cracked
Okay.
window isn't
Yes.
a broken
Watching.
window.
Okay.
Okay.
There's 2x4.
This one.
Mostly peaceful, by the way.
I don't know if I could use this.
And I think that's Dominic that are going in fourth, right? But he's the guy holding the shield.
So this
He is
guy right
indeed.
here, he's Dominic.
Yep. And it's Proud
That
Boys.
is Dominic Pizzola. Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Mostly peaceful.
One.
2. Well, 1, 2.
Well, if that guy could get over the fucking window.
2,
3.
3. He's
Little
a
box.
He's technically 4.
He's not the
Two.
first
4 or
one in.
5.
He's the
Yeah.
fourth
4 or
one
5.
in.
But
And
he's
I want to
absolutely
hear
breaking-
Destiny.
just
I want to
be
hear
clear,
Destiny what
just to be
Destiny
clear,
has to say about this.
Just to be clear, he's absolutely breaking that window, right?
Yes.
He's
of
absolutely
course.
no. Listen, Dominic will tell you himself he's breaking that window. But I'd love to hear Destiny's take on this. I don't know. Now, do you feel like you're wrong about being the first?
I never said
He
he was
was
the first one in.
actually
I said
the
that the Proud Boys
fourth.
were involved in
No, you
breaking
did.
into the
You did
Capitol
say
building.
that we were
No,
the
I
first
didn't.
ones in.
I
Yes.
knew you guys were the first ones that broke through all the barriers, which is true. The outer
That is
perimeter,
not
the
true.
second outer gate.
You want to
and
go
then
through the first
window
one?
here.
We could do this again because
Sure, you can find the first one
when
if
we're
you want,
talking
sure.
about semantics, you want to talk about the president not saying a single word patriotically and peacefully and not directing people to be. But now here you're not using semantics, right? So now
I'm not using semantics. But was he a Proud Boy involved in breaking through the window for the
yes,
first
he was.
people to enter the building?
Yes, and I've never
that's my
denied
claim,
that.
Correct.
Dominic
That's
doesn't
good.
even
All right.
deny that.
And this
So
happened,
now
at
let's
about,
go to
this
the
happened
first
right
breach.
after 2 o'clock. This happened
But wait,
before Trump was
you had
tweeting that you guys
so
should
much
remain
to
peacefully,
say
right?
about the first, second, and third breach. Go to the first breach. Was the Proud Boys the first ones to go through the first
If
breach?
you have video you want to send it me to it, and we'll just watch it just like
No, he's the one. He's the one that has the burden of proof right now because he's making the claim. So I'd like him to
Why
pull
the
up
fuck
the
does
window.
retard know anything about burden
Go
of
ahead.
proof? You don't
Conspiracy, but you know.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking liberal DC liberal DC jury, of course. Again, I hope
Liberal
one day,
DC jury.
whenever you face your charges for your sexual assault and all the weird fucking kinky shit that you do, I hope that the people on that jury hate your fucking guts and put you in prison. And I hope you rot there for 22 years. And I hope that you change your mind about everything, but I doubt it. And I hope you change your mind about the justice system because you're out here simping for the fucking justice system.
I'm not simping
And
for
then
the justice
now
system. I think it's a
you
crime
have
that,
been
like,
simping for the
actual
justice
stuff,
system.
he'll be human filth like you
Simping
guys
for the
are
justice
pardoned.
system
You
is
should
saying,
be
oh, well,
rotting
you
in a
got
jail.
Let Destiny,
That's
hold
fucking
on, let
fucking
Destiny,
jail. You
let
should be
Destiny and
rotting
Dev
under
go.
the
Destiny
jail.
and Dev, please. Destiny and Dev, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we all know that Newsom's going to pardon you anyway, Destiny, so it's
I
fine.
think I already.
True base, my thing.
Okay, so
That'll be
Dev,
great.
you showed us that video. What else are your thoughts here? And then I want to get.
Well, here I think Dev can take this response. But one guy was asking why were people at the White House or why were people at the Capitol? And he said there were multi-factors. They were there because Trump called them there.
They were there because they
no.
believe that 2020 was stolen from them, even though
Yeah, they were there.
even though Biden actually did win 2020.
Because
Quite a
Trump spread the
few-
lie. Yeah.
No, quite a few people, and I can name a myriad of them. Christina Kelso, Scott Fairland, many of them were there because they were angry about losing their businesses. And yeah, I mean, the election plays into that because they thought the lockdowns would continue more. But these are people who lived under blue states, and they were just there to have their voices heard. They went there with signs about COVID, mask mandates, vaccines. Not everybody there was a Trump supporter either, by the way.
Okay.
You know, you got to remember that when you have a large amount of people like that, you're going to get a cross section of American society. So it's not true.
Well, sure, but I mean, nobody really cares about the guy who went there to protest and just kind of stayed outside, didn't get any trouble, went home. No one cares about them. People care about the ones who are rioting.
I mean, you should when they get prosecuted too.
They did.
Yeah, they did though. That's
No,
the
they
problem.
didn't. They didn't. There was
Oh, okay, we
100,000
should go
people
So wait,
there.
so
You had-
Barry, hold on, wait, back up before we get into this naming off every individual, because every single time these guys get looked up, all of them were doing some fuck shit. But I understand the DC jury; it's all horrible, politically partisan prosecutions. Why do you really think that if Trump? I don't know. I'm asked this because there's no good faith engagement here. If Trump hadn't called people there on J6, it would have been a few hundred people tops.
Bullshit. Vice did a whole they did a video walkthrough of the audience. They found 6 distinct different groups.
I'm also going to give December and November as an example. Trump didn't tell anybody in November, December to show up to DC, and we showed up in the thousands. As a matter of fact, I'd say that the November rally from November 14th was a lot. There was a lot more people attending that rally than they did on January.
Rally? Just so I can just fact check real quick.
The Million MAGA March. I could be off. But regardless of the fact, it doesn't change the fact that the president did not tell anybody to show up in November, and they still showed up in mass. I remember actually with Bobby that's sitting right next to me, I remember sitting on Capitol Hill and looking down Constitution Avenue and seeing people shoulder to shoulder all the way to the White House.
Well, yeah, but even then,
earlier,
hold on,
earlier
real
was
quick,
that
though.
so many people.
So, I know what you're talking about because Trump didn't even understand what was going on with the false elector plan until early December. I get it, but all throughout November, you had Ken Cheesebro talking about this. You had the First Amendment Praetorians that were talking about this. There was the slow boil online of riling people up to get them to believe that there was something that could be done about this. That Trump could have these 7 slates of frankly false electors to come in and then save the day in the last minute. And this was it was built up online. It was built up in certain channels in certain spheres in DC. It eventually got to Trump's desk in early December, and that's when he started pushing it personally. But it still came from a location, and it came from the right wing.
So let me ask you something.
Actually being upset about the election.
Let me ask you something about Pence then. So you're saying that they lied to them and they couldn't. Let's say, so then why is Pence considered a hero from the left if he decided to certify the election results? What if Pence decided to go with Trump's plan? Would that make a difference?
He'd be a traitor?
Yeah, then he wouldn't be considered.
He'd be a traitor, but
wouldn't.
But then there is a chance of something happening, right? There is a chance of going ahead and not certifying the election. Correct.
Yeah, if the insurrection.
So having that hope,
it's called
having that hope that Mike Pence would do something would motivate people to try to protest.
Yeah, correct.
I truly believe. Look,
you're describing an insurrection. They would hope that their pressure there would force people like.
No,
Pence
it would be illegal.
It
would be illegal.
It's not legal. It would be illegal.
It would be a legal solution.
It's not
What if
legal.
he
Where's the language inside
it is legal if you
One at a time. Hold on. One at a time.
That's a very
Hold on. One at a time.
specific-
I need to fix this right here.
I understand, but let Destiny finish. Then you can fix it, and then I want to hear from Grid.
Yeah,
That's all.
go ahead.
And I
What you're
see
talking
you
about
fit-
is
I
an
see you fit.
insurrection.
Go ahead.
I'm talking.
Them unilaterally overthrowing 7 states worth of votes to pick their own electors would be depriving the American people of their right to vote.
But you're not. But you didn't argue with me when I asked if Mike Pence can do that, and that is a legal solution.
Not
If
legally. No, he
He
cannot
legally
legally.
cannot. He legally cannot.
So he couldn't not certify the election or refuse to certify the election that day.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Legally, yes.
Okay. Well, then if you
Well,
just
just to be clear, do you grant them that, Enrique, that not in a legal way, in no legal manner, could Mike Pence certify or not refuse to certify the election?
Yes, listen, I give him that.
Okay.
But what I'm
Just wanna make
saying,
sure.
my argument isn't that.
What
My
the-
argument
what were you
is
arguing- what was your
that
argument?
people thought, we're getting in the minds of these people, that people thought that Mike Pence was able to not certify the election.
Because
maybe
Trump told
Tim
them.
has more insight if that's able, or maybe he
Well,
disagrees
because Trump
with me
told
there.
them that. Yes, they think that because Trump told them that. That's the whole point. This is why it's Trump's fault. Yes.
Listen, I believe that the president also thought that the election was stolen, along with
Don't care.
millions
He
of
can
other
live in
Americans.
its delusion. That's fine, but you're just giving an excuse then for why he was calling all those people there to insurrect the government. Because if you think the
He
election
wasn't
is
calling
stolen-
anybody to insurrect the government. And let me tell you the schedule for that day.
Yeah, he was.
Everybody,
And
he wasn't even supposed to speak. He didn't decide to speak until I think January 1st or the 31st. He decided a whole 10 or 11 days after that the rally was scheduled to be on there. And everybody thought, including my guys, thought that the president was going to speak at the Capitol, in front of the Capitol. Even the president says it, right? My guys were at the Washington Monument, which was the back of the ellipse. They couldn't see anything. They were pissed off that they got there late, that they woke up late because they got fucking sloshed the night before, and they wanted to get good seats. So that is why they moved to the Capitol so early, because they thought that he was going to go to the Capitol at that moment.
I have a question for you, because now I'm really interested. So you just said that
Wait, you said
Donald Trump believed he was genuinely stolen from.
Trump said the night before that it would be at the ellipse. This was I don't know if it maybe like on January 1st it was planned to be in front of the Capitol while the election was being certified. I have my doubts that would even be legally allowed, that they would even allow him to do that. But it was no mystery, at least for like the weeks leading up, when Donald Trump was promoting the big protest at the Capitol, be there, be wild. You know, when he said that, I don't think it was any mystery that his speech wouldn't be at the Capitol, that it'd be at the ellipse. No shit, I paused too soon.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. And despite this, he still wasn't calling for an insurrection?
Restraint.
He didn't. Can you tell me when he called for an insurrection? Because he got fucking
No,
slopped.
you just said that he wasn't calling for an insurrection, right? Like you just said that?
He was not calling for an insurrection. That's correct.
Even though he believed he was stolen from. Is he a cuck? Like what the fuck? If he was stolen from, he should be calling.
He was pursuing. He
was pursuing, as he said, peacefully and patriotically, fucking protesting the election.
I do want to give it to Grid.
I mean, that's a retarded age. I thought I was arguing with some people that
Hold
had
on,
to
please.
tell
There will be
it
order
to
in
you.
this court. There will be order in this court. I want to give it to Grid, and then I want to give it to Gibbs. That's the order we're going in.
This is something that's really annoying. That you guys keep acting like that things we know today to be more or less factual. Actually supports that there was massive irregularities with the election. All Trump was saying is, hey, there are massive irregularities with this election, and we should check this shit out, and we shouldn't just go ahead and stop Destiny. I've been very polite.
That's why Barr left. Then stop lying.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to finish. You can keep talking.
Doesn't like this point.
But I don't care what you like.
Yeah, of course.
The point is that we are looking at this, or you are looking at this through what you think you know today. Which, by the way, we're finding out every single day that those irregularities may have happened, or more credible. And the reality is that your rhetoric is breaking down. The rhetoric that you've been spewing for 4 years of there was no election fraud and it was Trump was trying to seize control. All that's breaking down because the reality is had they just given Trump what was he asking for, a week or 10 days to go through some of the irregularities? The fact that nobody was willing to do that, and now they conveniently forget that that's
the
what
problem is that I've talked to Grit about Doge too. This is just, it's such convenient retardation. Like, okay, Trump, if they just gave Trump his 10 days to look for irregularity, this wouldn't have happened. He had 2 months. What the fuck would an extra 10 days do? Did he find anything 10 days after the election was certified? What the fuck would 10 days of investigation do? It's not going to do anything, first of all. Second of all, that pause that he was asking for is illegal. It's against the Electoral Count Act. You can't do that. Third, there's no fraud, right? But he just keeps saying these fucking retarded fucking points as if they're anything. It's so frustrating when people go to debate, but they do no research and they just give out the talking points that they hear from the president, right? Like all of this is such horse shit.
Was asking for, is stupid. You guys can't be more stupid.
So I've heard everything you have to say.
Right,
Do you know the process of actually doing that, though? Of actually having this investigated? You know what the real process is? Because it did happen in 1876. You know this, right? That there was an electoral commission that was put forward, and in fact the certification of the vote was delayed for 2 months. So all Congress had to do was to do the same thing they did in 1876. And the reason Congress didn't do that is because the riot fucking interrupted it. Like that's one big reason why the process didn't happen the way it should.
No, that's bullshit, and you know it.
No, that's complete.
That is bullshit, Dev, and you know it.
They would have done it.
Hold on, I think it's hilarious.
Let Dev answer the question. Let Dev answer the question, or
Listen,
respond to the
there was
accusation.
enough
I should
proof,
say.
if there was enough proof to convince the congressmen and the senators to actually have an electoral commission to investigate this, then they would have done so. There was no fucking proof. There's still no fucking proof. You're saying that new proof is coming out every day. Yeah, you're saying it's coming out every day. Are you talking about like the 350,000 votes from Georgia that went viral like last week?
315.
I didn't mention that. Yeah. I mentioned the Minnesota stuff that's happened with the duplicate voters we know are on the rolls, and we could go into other stuff like in Nevada that's come out recently. There's all sorts of different examples.
Wait, on the voter roll? On the voter rolls doesn't even mean cast ballots either.
You're going to try and hand wave it off, Dev.
Point out what Dev and Destiny are doing. I just want to point out what Dev and Destiny are doing. It's really impressive. It's really impressive.
Hold on. Stop. Destiny, then Gibbs. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, here. Well, let's just work one specific example, okay? So one thing that Trump said, we can go through every single one of these if we want. He said, then election officials pull boxes. Democrats and suitcases of ballots out from under a table. He's talking about in Fulton County. We know that claim was a lie, and we knew that claim was a lie on day one. It was debunked. Yep. If you watch the video, they were put underneath the table when they were going to stop counting. Then they pulled those same boxes out from underneath afterwards. That was a lie. They knew it was a lie on day one, and Trump repeated it at the Ellipse speech on January 6th.
Well, before we started arguing about what evidence we're going to accept, I want to point out this game that they're doing real quick. It's really impressive how on the left over here they do this ticky-tack, baby-back bullshit with words. Go, oh, he didn't say peacefully, patriotically, or whatever at the exact right time. But then they go, oh, he was implying an insurrection. Well, can you point to me where the word insurrection comes from? But then when you say that, they want to dismiss it, wave a hand, go, well, you know what he thinks. And it's just like there's no winning here. It's an all-lose scenario with them. They're just going to play dishonest. And it's really all propaganda because they don't really want to talk about the real insurrection, which is the stolen election via the fraud. That's really what's happening.
He's literally asking to right now. He's asking, what's the evidence?
Just prove it.
We are proving it. That's why they're opening tons of investigations and finding new shit all the time. Okay, Fox News today said there's 250 to 500 billion dollars worth of fraud, $1 billion worth of fraud going away every year right now, estimated. And then we're seeing, oh, it's funding candidates. Oh, we're seeing, oh, it's in these states where we have tons of illegals, no voter ID. Wow, just a total coincidence that's happening.
What Dev said, actually, I just want to say,
what a fucking retard. What do you
think? Important observation.
Does he think fraud is the same like Minnesota, the Somalia thing?
So
that's election fraud.
Happened and it canceled.
Then why the fuck were you there?
This was not the appropriate forum for that.
You want the actual
happen,
answer? Because the answer is not that we went there to interrupt the process that we wanted to happen.
Of course you did.
That makes absolutely no sense. Why would we want to interrupt? It makes perfect sense.
It doesn't make any sense that you think. How is Congress the appropriate forum when they're certifying the vote for a debate to happen about the electoral procedures?
It doesn't matter if you agree with it. That was the argument at the time. We're going to go there and support our brave congressmen and representatives. That was the point of
to decertify the vote.
No,
to not accept the result of the election.
No, actually, you don't even know.
I'm pretty sure there's specific, definite plans to meet at the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, it's the 1776 returns thing that was circulated by TARRIO. I'm familiar with all of this, right? They're just constantly lying. Yeah, I unfortunate. It's unfortunate that like these people are just feeding you bullshit, right? And then all of the conservatives on this panel are too retarded to know it.
I do know what happened. I've read all the fucking documents. You're just lying about everything. The whole
I read some shit on the internet, which makes me a professional. That's what you sound like.
How many people in here were convicted of what crimes? Give me a fucking break, okay?
Let him go, please.
I'm trying to say, because I actually am a witness, and I can tell you my experience there. I actually went there, and my cell phone footage proves this. I didn't know there was any restricted area, and I'm not trying to put that on Proud Boys or Ryan Samsel or Ray Apps specifically. But I walked into an area thinking that I was just there for a First Amendment demonstration. When the cops attacked us, it incensed us. And
no, you're fucking retarded. you're telling me that the cops just came up and attacked you and said nothing? They didn't say, hey, you're on restricted area, or you weren't going with a bunch of people who are already like doing a violent incursion? That's what you're telling me? Give me a fucking break. How gullible do you think? Well, I need to stop saying this. I keep thinking, like, how fucking stupid do you think we are? But the answer is that they think we're incredibly stupid, and they're right to think we're that stupid because the American people are that stupid, and all of the people on this panel are stupid enough to believe that.
That was that. It doesn't mean it has to make
I think I'm going back to the
on the Western Terrace. What you call
if a cop attacks you and you're on the Capitol grounds, your first thought is, "Wow, I'm getting attacked for no reason." Not maybe I.
Yeah, because I was present. Because I was present.
Yeah, because he thinks he's at a peaceful protest, which you, by the way, seem to support.
I'm at a peaceful protest. The cop come up. They say nothing. They attack me for no reason. I think I'm doing something. What? Like, even the people. By the way, this is a separate thing. Even the people who, you know, get attacked by cops at peaceful protests, a lot of the times it is because they are doing something illegal. Now, whether or not it's a justified use of force, that's a separate question. On January 6th, that 1000% was. But like, even people who who like get attacked by cops at peaceful protests, it's because they're like staying out past the curfew, right? Like, even that, they are not protesting in a legal fashion, right? Am I wrong?
I bet when I say about that girl in Minnesota, you're on there crying for her.
Hold on. Trespass. Let's
you didn't
go.
know it was trespassing because you're not understanding the context of people pouring into an area, not knowing that it's a restricted area. We didn't know it was
restricted. We're not even. No one's even arguing this. I'm sure there are some people that probably trespassed that weren't aware that they were trespassing. None of us are arguing
most
that.
Of them, most of them, because they happened a half hour before I even showed up.
Wow. Well, it sounds like Donald Trump maybe should have clarified before he sent all of them over to the Capitol to try to disrupt the counting of the vote. Maybe
people tore barriers down before his speech.
So where did President Trump, since it was so nuanced?
I know that was my earlier claim. Thank you. Yes. Hello.
Since it was so nuanced, where did President Trump?
Ask your question.
We know that.
What did President Trump say to do an insurrection, Destiny?
He says that the cops weren't inciting it. We had a professional witness on the stand, a use of force witness on the stand that specifically covers riot control. And when we asked these pepper balls and these rubber bullets, where are they, if there's a crowd, where are they shot into? And they're usually shot into the front of the crowd. They tell them not to shoot into the back of the crowd because the opposite effect can happen. If you look at the video from the cops that were overlooking from an eagle's nest position, they weren't shooting at the front of the crowd, they were shooting at the back of the crowd. And one of those people that got shot, his name is Joshua Black. Also, a couple of Proud Boys that were far back, about 100 feet back, were getting peppered with pepper balls. And I know that aggravated the crowd. So I'll take the word of a use of force professional before I take.
In that case, it was after they had already broken through all of the restricted grounds, right? This isn't to prevent the riot. This isn't to stop the people from breaking into the restricted ground. My guess is that this is already after because there was like 3 lines of defense for the Capitol, right? So I'm guessing that this was probably after the crowd had already gotten out of control, after the Capitol police officers had already lost a hold on all of the things, and probably as they were already into the fucking restricted grounds. Do you remember the one clip of the girl who got pepper sprayed at January 6th? It was a meme for a while. Yes. Yes, I do.
The word of a podcaster that's read shit on the internet. He just said that. Read shit on the internet and is a self-proclaimed professional in things that have to do with January.
To be clear, just so I understand, this was an expert witness that was brought on for the side that lost the court case, right?
That witness actually was both of the witnesses for the government and for myself. Both of them are use of force, and both of them answered exactly the same way. So you could try that with somebody else, not here. You could take that shit somewhere else.
The case
There's also plenty of video, though. The man he's talking about, Joshua Black, was shot through the face with plastic rounds and was bleeding all over the West Terrace. People who weren't aware of what was going on were incensed by that, and there's plenty of testimony from defendants. I mean, you can disregard defendants because you think they're guilty, but there's plenty of actual eyewitness
I think the ones
testimony about
guilty
this.
are the ones that were convicted, you know? Yeah.
You know where I find cowardice and Destiny? He's saying what he wants to say, but he's still there. He still's got that fear. Just say what you want to say. You want your political opponents to be in prison. Look, if we're playing this game where we're playing this
that are trying to circumvent the lawful outcome of the election in prison, yes. And especially people that are planning to do it.
Okay,
yes.
but you want the person trying to run over an ICE agent. You want them to go free.
We didn't try to run over the ICE agent. She was trying to drive away.
We could, if you want to say what you truly want to say, look, I'm going to be you for a second. I would celebrate the death. I would celebrate the death, like you celebrated the death of Ashley Babbitt. Celebrate the death of one of ours. We celebrate the death of one of yours. And let's stop playing this game where we pretend that we don't have a bias here, because you do have a bias. You want to see us in prison. That's fine. You know what? I would respect you more. I would respect you more when you say, I want my political. I want my political
projecting your delusion onto me.
I would respect you more. If you don't have the you don't have the decency to actually say what you feel.
I want to hear.
Let it out. Let it out. Tell people how you really feel.
Just real quick, please.
Destiny. Yeah, what's up?
Well, we're not. And you know what? It makes you angry that we're not.
I'm gonna have to meet people.
I am. Yeah, I'm honest about that.
Destiny, stop. I'm about to give you the mic, Destiny. Destiny, I want to know specifically what you and Dev's strongest argument is that this is an insurrection, and then they can deal with that. What is your strongest piece of evidence that this was an insurrection on January 6th? Go ahead.
Well, me and Dev will put forth our own thing, I think.
Exactly.
I think that
Sure. See. Yeah.
I would say probably the Are you going to say the false electors, or are you going to say Trump's behavior during the insurrection, Dev? Which one do you want to go with? Or are you do you have a totally
I'll go with false electors. I know that.
Why don't you think for yourself and just answer the question?
I would say that Trump's behavior, you're the actual Trump guzzling sheep. I don't know why you would ever tell me to think for myself, sir. I think that the strongest piece of evidence is how Trump acted during the insurrection itself. So, for instance, when there were multiple family members, when there were multiple members of government that were begging him to call off the rioters, and Donald Trump was making phone calls to congressmen telling them that, well, maybe you should consider flipping your vote or changing your vote. He had even the call with McCarthy, where he was saying, well, maybe they're mad for a good reason. And Giuliani was also making similar phone calls. I think that was very evident that the things were going as he wanted them to, that he was happy to see the insurrection carry on, and rather than actually calling down the National Guard to go there immediately and to stop it, he was happy to watch it continue on because he was hoping eventually he would delay the certification of the vote or flip it to himself. I think that's one of my strongest pieces.
Okay, Dev, go ahead with yours, and then we'll get the response from all of them. Go ahead, Dev.
I mean, we've already talked about these 7 slates of false electors before in this conversation. You guys think that basically Trump was stolen from, and so this was part of the actual procedure. Basically, it was based on the 1960 election because there were dueling electors in 1960. The difference is that in 1960, the state of Hawaii actually signed off on the alternate slate of electors. That didn't happen here. We have the false elector papers. They're publicly available to see. You can see that no state government actually signed off on any of those electors. At the same time, I have now at this point read 64 full court cases on what happened during the 2020 election, all the audits, all the recounts, all the investigations. No fucking evidence has ever been produced. And additionally, everyone says, oh, it's standing. Standing's the reason why those court cases didn't go anywhere. Well, guess what? If you actually read the court cases, you'd realize that pretty much in every single one, the judges actually said, hey, even though there's no standing for this, we are going to do like an impromptu kind of look at the merits anyway, because we understand that this is actually really important, that everyone really cares about this. And so you can actually read the court documents and realize there's fucking nothing. There's no evidence of anything. In all of these cases, Trump just lost them on standing, on merits, on everything, because there is no fucking evidence. And I know everyone's talking about, oh, there's new evidence coming out right now, all these no, it's all bullshit. Like in Georgia, the 315,000 extra like improper votes, what that was you had like a poll worker who failed to sign out at the end of his shift. And so it turns out that those the ballots that he was involved with were like were not signed off on properly, but they're still all completely legitimate ballots. And then guess what? Once that state was recounted, those were all recounted properly and recertified, and they were all signed off on. So like even these little moments where you have like technical snafus that don't actually disqualify any votes or show any fraud, none of it ever pans out to anything. It's all bullshit.
Okay.
There's no chain of authority,
you guys
which
can
means
respond to that. Go ahead, Stream Rift, and I want to hear from the rest of you. Go ahead.
there's no chain of authority, which means they didn't follow their own state laws. And so that calls into question whether they were legitimate or not. And it's 2 signatures. The other thing is an insurrection, the definition I looked up, a violent uprising against an authority or government. It was an appeal to government. It was saying you're doing something that we'd like you to do differently. It was explicitly not saying we have another plan, let's have a new government. So
certify the
definitionally,
election.
as an insurrection,
saying don't
nobody
certify
was
Joe
trying to
Biden as the
overthrow
president.
government. They were trying to get Congress to elect, even if you say, oh, well, Mike Pence couldn't fail to certify the election. Okay, fine. That's an appeal to government, not an overthrow of it.
Definitionally, it is an overthrow of the government. He lost, and they wanted to keep him in. Wanted to keep him in office.
The government. He said
because the new government was supposed to be Biden, and you wanted to overthrow the count to keep Trump entrenched in power.
Destiny, stay here. How is saying, dear government, you did something wrong, I'd like you to do it different, an overthrow of that government?
Because when you're saying the thing you did wrong was you kept in a guy in power that I don't want, or you have voted a new guy in power that I don't want you to have in power. You're insurrecting against.
That's not what they were saying. They're saying we don't think it was valid results. So they're saying government. Okay, guess what?
You do realize. So you do realize that Trump went to Pence and said, "Hey, listen, don't send these 7 electors back to the states. Just install me as the next president."
Yes.
Trump said that to Pence.
So what part of the insurrection is them overthrowing the government?
It's Trump telling Pence to install him as government.
It's the part when the certification of the vote was literally delayed.
Definitionally not an insurrection, Dev, and you
breaking into it. Definitionally is. I've read so much more about this than all of you fucking retards combined. Okay, but it definitionally is. They broke into the Capitol for the first time in the history of the United States government. The certification of the vote was delayed. It happened because of violence at the Capitol, and it was the goal of
the first time in history we had massive mail-in voting, which is the most fraudulent form of voting.
We didn't have any fraud. We did, but then, and you found no fraud. How sad is that? Just like Doge, nothing.
Years later, how are we supposed to know this months?
Okay, hold on a
second.
I got a question for all of you. I have a question for all of you. Okay, let's say it's 2016. Okay, and Trump wins 2016 fair and square because he obviously did. And now let's say Joe Biden, presiding over the counting of the vote, says, you know what? I'm just going to start tossing out electors and we're going to install Hillary Clinton as president. Would you guys have stood for that?
What does that have to do with whether it was an insurrection?
Would you have stood for it? Yes or no?
Why are you moving the goalpost?
Hold on.
Yes or no?
I do want.
We're not playing your game.
Hold on, just please. I do want people to answer this question.
Yes or no?
No, I asked the question first, and it got dodged. How's that fair?
Can you?
What was the dodge?
What was your question? What was the dodge?
Because he was like, "Oh, it was the first time in whatever that it was delayed for 3 hours." And I'm like, "Dude, this is the first time in I don't know ever that there was this volume." I'm asking, how are you going to say that this was like ginned up solely by Trump when there were so many other factors absent Trump
because every single
mad enough to show up that day?
Yeah, they all came from Trump. Every single piece of voter fraud that was brought to him was debunked by Barr. Why did Barr quit? Why did Barr quit before the certification?
I'm talking about they didn't have that much time between
the
plenty
decision
of time. There was only months.
Months. That's a lot of time to find any voter fraud at all. To find one piece of voter fraud, there's plenty of time. Yeah.
No, was the voter fraud
since
like
just real quick, before you ask more questions, hold on.
Yes.
Before you ask more questions, Dev did ask you a question. Your question just got answered.
Yeah.
Can you answer his? In 2016, if Joe Biden had decided to get rid of the electors and install Hillary Clinton as president, would you have stood for that?
I would have gone to go protest at the Ellipse.
There you go.
Like you guys protested last time inside the building?
See, Enrique answered it. What about the rest of you?
It was a fun protest.
I mean, I'll answer it. I didn't know it was specifically to the whole panel, but sure.
Yeah, everyone, go ahead.
Okay, so you're saying had Biden installed Hillary Clinton just because, or are we talking about we think that there's massive election fraud, or what?
A whole bunch of Democratic officials cooked up a whole bunch of alternate electors and said, "Hey, Biden, use these."
You mean like a Steele dossier to try and smear Trump of Russian collusion and all that?
Were there any false electors in that dossier?
The clearest pivot in the world.
I mean,
you mean like FISA warrant Steele dossier?
That's
like that?
That's not election interference.
Do you mean like 34 counts New York?
Really good
Something
point.
like that?
That Steele dossier. How many fake electors were were cooked up as a result of that? Can I hear an answer from the panel for that? How many?
Give me one
Well,
minute.
wait, you're asking the wrong question. Is that election interference?
Didn't the Steele dossier, wasn't it published after the election happened?
Yes, thank you.
I'm just asking you a question.
Well, if it was after the election
Just
happened,
giving
then
you an
definitionally,
answer.
the answer would be no, if time only goes in one direction.
So Russiagate was before all of that, before the
No, so
2016
Russiagate was
election.
after the
No,
election.
it
That's why it's
wasn't.
such a stupid fucking conspiracy
Okay.
theory, because the person
Well,
that hurt
no.
Hillary the most.
No.
probably told me.
It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't. There was a PR campaign in 2016. I remember because I was there. I was into the 2016 campaign. So don't tell me that there was no Russia before 2016. That's election interference. That's exactly what it is. That the report came out
2016
after
is
that.
a
That's
whole
fine.
year. The election
So
after the
fucking
election was when the Steele dossier was leaked. Well, BuzzFeed published it, but it was after the
The
election. so
report was
it's kind of the worst-
published. The
it's kind of the
propaganda
worst
was
thing
started in
ever. It
2016.
doesn't really. Yeah, you keep saying that whole year. 2016 is a long. There's like 12 months, 365
Yeah,
days.
and the
4
election
days,
was
when
at
it
the end of the year.
And the Steele dossier was
Count,
published
count.
afterward. Yeah.
Arithmetic, dude.
Well, we talk about stolen election. I can give you an example right here. We have what's her name? We have the executive director for Wisconsin's election commission, Claire Whittle-Vaughn. She was convicted of voter fraud in 2024. In May, right?
Just a real quick.
And we just got an email that was released.
I have a fact check
that
for the
says-
Steele dossier. It was published on Mother Jones on October 31st, 2016. So it was just before the U.S. presidential election. So.
Okay, just before the
Okay, so we have an email just today from this person who's been convicted of voter fraud, saying, "quote Xerox 64,000 ballots in the back of the conference room in Milwaukee City Hall, room 501 at 3 a.m." Guess what? They won a percentage by in Wisconsin, 0.63%, and that's how much Biden won by. So it looks like we are starting to find examples of the election being stolen, like this example. So when you're saying there's no evidence, there's evidence coming out every day.
What is that evidence?
Election Commission Executive Director Claire Woodall-Vaughn.
All right.
So and it's pretty crazy.
We're still waiting.
I guess if you stopped reading and
how was the election stolen? Based on the
2017.
She was convicted before this email was found out.
How was the election stolen in 2016, 2017? You said Russia. How was that used to steal the election? You guys brought that up as an example of trying to steal an election.
No, I said that's election interference.
Destiny.
That's attempting.
Destiny is having like such tracking issues lately. Like, why engage with that? Like, what? That's so easy to disprove. He didn't even bring anything up. Why are you talking about 2016? Like, that's such a blatant goalpost shift. What are you doing, buddy?
And attempting is conspiracy in its own nature, so it should be prosecuted. And the person, all the people involved there should get 22 years.
So many mainstream media companies had this dossier. And it was Mother Jones that eventually published. Was it Mother Jones or was it? I thought
Mother
BuzzFeed
Jones
was the first one that published it.
On October 31st, 2016, just before.
Are you sure it wasn't?
First
I'm almost
reported
positive it was
on
BuzzFeed.
So it shouldn't.
Wait. Reported on is different than published in its entirety. My understanding is that BuzzFeed published it. Oh, you mixed it up for reported on.
That's correct. That's correct. The full
published it
35
on January 10th,
dossier
2017. Okay, thank you. So I was correct. Thank you. Jesus.
Well.
Oh shit.
Okay, I got to make a little money, so let me read some of these super chats, and then we'll get back to the show. $10 from Artemis Fowl to say, didn't the ellipse speech have specifically peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard in it? I see several video and an NPR article saying it happened. Weird. Thank you for the $10.
Yes.
Artemis, start showing up to these again.
Zero fucks for 10-month membership. Thank you, buddy. Peacefully and patriotically hit like and subscribe. True. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays. When Trump sees violence, he said, "Stop being violent and be peaceful." Destiny says that's just nonsense.
He did not say stop being violent.
Stop
That's
being
not
violent?
true.
Wait, he tweeted that? Was that a tweet that he said?
Never said that, yeah.
Remain calm, remain peaceful.
Paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing? Oh, because when somebody says remain peaceful, that makes it sound like there's no violence happening. That's what I would assume. But okay.
Okay, Trump did tweet
Quantum
this. He
Fantasy,
says,
just
"I
real
know
quick.
you're paying."
Quantum Fantasy member for 15 months. Wow. Gibbs being so well behaved up there in the corner. Well, we'll see. The soy pill for $5. And this is to Enrique. What did "do what must be done" end quote mean, Enrique?
Are we answering it now, or are you going through the
answer
super
it now,
chat?
please.
Okay. I was excited. I was excited about what was going on at the Capitol. I was watching it on TV, and I said, "Do what must be done."
So yeah,
I
what
was
did that mean,
celebrating.
though?
I
What
was
did you want
celebrating
to-
the shit out of what happened that day. Yes, super fucking guilty of it.
Yeah, but what did you want to be done?
I wanted them to keep going.
Keep going what?
Okay.
Keep going how?
I wanted them to stay there. I wanted them to protest. I wanted them to stay there. Yes.
Okay, so
Inside the
I didn't
Capitol
want them to
building?
leave inside the Capitol building. I wanted to
Yeah.
occupy the Capitol building. Yes.
Yeah, we know. It was
And
in the
do
invite.
what with it?
Just real quick, $5 from Mr.
Peacefully
Weisman.
Disrupt,
occupy
to
the
insurrect.
Capitol.
That's what that means. That's definitionally an insurrection, right?
No,
Destiny?
no,
That's
no.
Days.
Definitionally it is. You're using
Peacefully.
threat and
For me to
intimidation
answer
and-
peacefully
Destiny
occupy
is
it.
dead, fucking-
Peacefully
Yeah, it's
occupy the Capitol,
definitional
Destiny.
insurrection,
Let
Jesus.
me get through
Coach
these.
Pink
Okay,
is
we got more. We got
insurrection
more. I
when they
promise.
interfered with Kavanaugh hearings.
Right.
We'll get there. We'll get there. I promise. Mr. Wise Guy Plays for $5 says Destiny doesn't care about things that's not framed in his anti-Trump worldview. Change my mind. $5 from Audacity. This is fun.
Also,
Like when
Mr.
Dad
Wise
used
Guy
to put on
shit
Boomer
his
Radio and they would
fucking
play greatest
shit
hits.
his pants in
Makes my
a debate with
basement
Destiny, by the
Reno
way.
easier to do. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for $5. $20 from Josiah from Pondering Politics. If January 6th was mostly peaceful because only a small number of attendees engaged in violence, each of these fine MAGA fellas would agree every individual BLM riot, not protest, was likewise definitionally mostly peaceful. Do you guys agree with that?
Wait, I didn't.
Sure.
I didn't get that.
If
The vast majority of the BLM protests and even the riots themselves would be peaceful if by that definition, because every riot only has like 1 to 5% of people actually rioting. There's no riot where
So Destiny,
every
would
single
we
person is
agree?
breaking shit.
All of
and
the BLM
gunshots?
protests, all of the J6 protests, everybody gets a pardon if you weren't violent. We all agree on that, right, Destiny?
No, we
If
have
you
more
weren't
crimes in
policy
this country.
on
We
both
have violent
groups?
crimes. What a stupid
No.
point. There are plenty of crimes you
Oh,
commit that
okay.
don't
So we
involve
don't agree
violence.
that nonviolent protest is equally pardonable. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Non-violent protest? I'm talking about
Pardonable?
occupying
No.
the Capitol building with the goal
I
of
literally
disrupting
just
the
fucking
government.
asked you.
That's
if
the
we all
definition of
had-
occupying. Occupying a building is nonviolent.
Occupying
Like,
the occupying
it
did say
definition
it.
is
Well,
not
occupying is
violent.
non-violent.
Just
Cool.
fucking say it.
Yeah,
You just
you're
want
already-
us
you
all
can
in
get
prison.
arrested. It's called
You
civil
want all Trump
disobedience.
supporters in
Yeah,
prison.
yeah,
Just
civil
fucking.
You want
admit
all
it.
Trump supporters
That's
in
it.
prison just
Yeah,
because we
you
want to
fucking-
occupy
yeah,
the Capitol.
Exactly. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
100%
I
at this
respect
point.
you for that.
Thank you, and I
Please.
respect you more if you
An
admitted that
olive
you
branch.
guys were attempting an insurrection. You failed, and that's why
It
the
wasn't
opinion
an
is
No,
insurrection. I would
I'll agree
respect
with you.
if we
All
could
I want to
consider
see is
any
you
other
guys in
alternative.
prison. I want you
I like
see.
to
I
get
want
olive
you to
branches as well.
suffer. I want you to suffer like my family
Damn, every
suffered.
day I'm
I want you
suffering
to
right now.
pay like
Mhm.
my family paid. I want you to do exactly what we did. If I could right now, how I feel and the shit that I went through, not before. I didn't feel like this before. I would have heads on pikes at this moment.
We know
right?
one of you guys were
Because of
screaming
what
about
you
the-
did
just
to
real quick,
everybody.
just real quick,
Fired,
please,
yeah.
Enrique. Whose heads would you like to see on pikes specifically?
The people who
All
did
the
this,
liberals.
the people who
deep
did
state.
this deserve that. Yes.
The imagined enemies.
who did
yes.
what?
Was
Yeah, who-
schizophrenia
I
a
would
pre-requirement to
I
joining the
believe.
Proud
I
Boys?
believe
You guys
the
gotta remember, you guys are
prosecutors.
members.
Who did
I
what?
believe that the
Unbelievable.
prosecutors in this case, I believe all the aides that helped fucking the suffering of 1,600 people and their families, I think that they should be investigated. I believe that they should be investigated for treason. And I believe that they should get the proper punishment for what treason is. That's what I believe that they should do, because they're nothing less than treasonous pigs, and that's all they deserve.
Okay.
If I
would
may,
not.
Tim.
I would
By the
not
way,
like to
I don't
see
want.
Destiny
I don't
endorsed
rock
being
with
endorsed.
Mr. Enrique. I don't rock with attacking Capitol Police officers. Tarrio just said that he wants all of the investigators' heads on pikes. Just want to make sure we heard all that correctly.
So-
I would just wish he would change his mind about his political opposition. I wouldn't want you to have to.
Tim is a better
wear-
person than I am.
No, I know. I know the consequences of weaponized government, and I don't want to see it. I'm not a Republican, you know. I was a labor leader. I'm not far right. I actually I
Center
understand
left or
I'm
far
a
left,
history
yeah.
major. I'm not in favor of it. I don't believe in returning evil for evil, even though I got pissed off that day. But I'm sorry I interrupted. But I
magnanimous.
disavow all pikes, all heads.
Okay.
Disavow.
$5 from Adashura to say, for the traitors of America, what was peaceful about chanting "Hang Mike Pence"? Also, if you think that didn't happen, why didn't Mike run again?
Was that as a serious threat as people supposedly wiping feces on the wall, which didn't happen? There's a couple clips you can find of people chanting stuff, but I mean, where was the rope? That was never going to
A
happen.
couple people
Make
chanting
yell
stuff.
out.
Stop Trump like
That was
what?
something that they didn't have the
Obligatory,
rope for it.
obligatory disavow, disavow.
Disavow. You shouldn't do this. No hanging of anyone.
Good one.
Unless a proper trial, Enrique was talking
I
about.
find it interesting that Destiny and the this is from Mr.
Like, look
White
at
Guy
this.
Plays another $5.
This is like fucking wild. This fucking loser, I don't remember what the fuck his stupid name is. The Josh dude, he constantly goes like, I'm good faith. I'm trying to build a bridge. Also, keep in mind, we shouldn't hang anybody without a trial, guys. This is fucking like, come on, dude.
I find it interesting that Destiny in the beginning said that Trump never said anything about people needing to be peaceful. Completely walk that back.
Nope. I said there wasn't an explicit
There wasn't
call for
a
people
call
to go
to
walk
be peaceful,
peacefully.
yeah.
He did say
God.
they needed to fight
Listen,
like hell, or they were going to lose the
that's the same
country.
thing. They didn't have the
It was
rope.
near the end of the speech.
They didn't have the rope. He didn't
Okay,
say
$10.
explicitly.
They did have a rope.
I get
Like,
it.
we literally
I get
saw
it.
the picture of
I
the
get it.
gallows built the morning of. Like, that actually was there, but, you know, I know we're not...
Dude, a gallows for midgets? You couldn't even hang a fucking midget on those fucking gallows.
It's not our fault you guys
Look at the real
actual
size of it.
gallows.
Come
I
on,
can't
stop
help with that.
pretending.
Jesus.
Stop bullshitting. Look at this.
You're gonna hang him with this? They need a better
Jesus
plan.
Christ. Look at that. You're playing
Gallows
Destiny, you're
were built
playing the
by guys who were
violins
getting
here.
off
Look at the
the
size of that
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Be
$10
realistic.
from Pondering
Fuck.
Politics. Just real quick. $10 from Pondering Politics. Trump had weeks and months before the election to challenge the alleged election changes this dude is complaining about, in addition to the time after the election. Thank you for the $10. 5 Canadian dollars from Ace Chrome Cheetah to say, so you're just admitting Trump is planting and fabricating evidence in his second term to prove voting fraud occurred in 2020. £5 from Riz What the Fuck to say, I'm not sure insurrection quite covered how disgusting and unpatriotic it was for these people to attempt to overturn the result of an election.
Does this go all to the
more
same
dollars
place?
from Mr.
He
Wise
shouldn't
Guy.
say anything from a country he's from. He'd probably go to prison for fucking saying some stupid ass shit. That's probably insurrection and fucking.
You know what?
in Great
Anyone
Britain.
who wants to give me money to say things is okay in my book.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Okay. $10 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say, will you guys ever bring up the BBC News completely fabricating and editing parts of Trump's January 6th speech to make it sound like
By the
he was
way,
telling his
this
supporters
Mr.
to
Wise
fight down
Guy
at the
speaks, dude.
Capitol?
I fucking shredded on January 6th. I hope you know. He knows goddamn nothing. His best defense is that Donald Trump was so retarded that he must have thought that the election was stolen, even though nobody around him told him so, and he was making up lies about it.
I want to hear Dev and Destiny address this one, please.
They used it on my trial. Let's start with that. They used it at my trial. They used a BBC clip at my trial. So go ahead.
That
No,
edited
they
BBC
didn't
clip?
because the edit happened in 2025. The
Yeah.
trial was what, 2022? They didn't use it.
Well, they're on that time travel shit, bro. Come on, you should know this by now.
No. Listen, not you.
The reality is they didn't completely fabricate anything, but they spliced together something from the beginning and the end of his speech. They shouldn't have done. It was
Spliced
stupid.
it together.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done it. It was a bad
mislead
edit.
people.
But like using it now to go back 5 years and claim something is fucking stupid.
Okay.
Well, notice how, because I'm not a partisan fuck, I can say that's bad. You shouldn't have done that, right? But you can't concede a single fucking thing, despite the fact that all the evidence. You guys can't even answer. What were people there for? What were people at the White House for?
They were there
there
to
was plenty of reasons
protest
to be
the
pissed.
stolen
Donald Trump
election.
has been
How many
there.
fucking
Yeah.
times are we
Donald
gonna
Trump
say
has been
this?
calling them there
Stop
for
playing
almost
these
a
fucking
month.
violins,
Donald
dude.
Trump has been
You're
calling
asking
them for almost
retarded
a month
questions.
Hold on.
to
If you're not
protest
partisan,
the
Hold on, let
certification
Destiny go,
of the
please.
vote. They were called there for Donald Trump called them almost a month earlier to protest the certification of the vote. That's what they were there for, because they didn't like the outcome of the election.
If you're not partisan, can you
Yes,
admit,
protesting.
Can you admit that,
More
say,
people in
if
prison
they
for
actually-
protesting. You just said it.
Well,
Fuck.
hold on. If he's not partisan, can you admit that if they actually subverted the election with voter fraud and this other stuff that the
just
Trump
read this shit
administration is
out.
alleging, then that would be equally as bad, if not worse, than the insurrection that y'all are alleging occurred. in
I'm
January
literally
6th.
an American whose country was born from rebellion. Yeah, if the election was actually stolen, I think you have plenty of reason to insurrect or rebel, of course. Which is why it was all the more disgusting that Donald Trump lied to you guys, and then you guys continue to propagate the same fucking lies over and over and over again. Every single lie that Trump told the day of the ellipse speech, Barr and other members of his government had already debunked to him. That's the issue. Just like the State Farm.
They didn't need Trump to say anything. They didn't need Trump to say anything to believe that the election was stolen. Don't you get
Donald
it?
Trump was the one spreading that lie. He spread it for 6 months before the election would fucking happen.
Absent Trump, there was
Hold on,
so
I mean,
much fucking shit going on.
No, there wasn't.
Yes,
There
there
really
was.
wasn't.
He spread the
There really
rumor.
wasn't. No, there wasn't.
Fraud.
I promise you, if you ask this fucking retard any instance of fraud, it's going to be from Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani. Like, there's no shot that he gives you any sort of fraud that wasn't like that doesn't spawn from Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani.
COVID was
Well,
like.
I want to hear from Greg. Greg, go ahead, please.
Yeah, man. I mean, so Destiny, come on, man. Trump doesn't run NBC or Fox News or any of the other major networks that were carrying the stories of potential election fraud. It's literally so disingenuous of you to say that Trump made this all up and he was the one that was promoting this, when literally every news agency in the country was not only covering it, they were looking for it. And I mean, come on, man, stop
And they found nothing. They found nothing,
Was
Grid.
Fox News knowingly propagating lies about voter fraud on behalf of Trump's campaign? Was that a thing that happened?
I don't know. Can you tell me?
Yeah, they said the
100%. You're 100% sure that they were propagating lies. That you can prove that
the Dominion, the whole Dominion machine voter fraud. That was Fox News propagating things that they knew were lies from Trump's campaigns and campaign circuits. Yes,
because of
the largest defamation of all corporate history.
Then you just proved yourself wrong.
Hold on, please, everyone stop. Please, everyone stop. Grid. Do you acknowledge that that's true?
I don't know that Fox made that up themselves. I don't know that they were. I don't remember.
You don't know about the largest.
No, they didn't make it up themselves. They were knowingly lying about claims of fraud for two reasons. One, because Sidney Powell, who was a part of the Trump campaign, that's where it ties in, was spreading knowingly false information on their program, and they decided to let her keep going because they wanted to stay competitive with OANN. So, like, yes, it was on behalf of the Trump campaign, because it was the Trump campaign lawyer that was going on and doing it. Right. Fuck, I'm trash. These things are so fucking fast.
You don't know anything about this.
Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox. I mean, yeah, I remember it, but I don't know that all of that was 100% factual either. Again,
pretty crazy to not know anything about any of that.
Who knows?
Well,
a lot of shit about
I don't say I know something unless I fucking know it.
This kid thinks people are afraid to debate it. Let's do it then. Let's debate.
There's a settlement. There's a settlement by $2 billion companies.
I think the settlement was for like 700 million.
But that doesn't support your claim that Trump did this. Your claim is that Trump put this out there and he was the guy doing it.
People in his group were the ones going
Trump people now. Okay, all right. Okay.
Yes,
who are
the president of the United States himself was not personally driving the car. He wasn't hopping on it. People like Sidney Powell, people like Rudy Giuliani, people like Mike Eastman, people like
It's a double standard. If he doesn't say enough of what you wanted to say, it's Trump's fault. But then when we're like, well, he didn't actually do it, you can't give us direct evidence. You're like, oh, but in this case, it's implied. Like you're doing a double standard here.
It's the ultimate goalpost on the moon now.
What goalpost do you think I've moved? Hold on, just to be clear, what goalpost do you think I've moved?
You initially said that Trump. You literally said that it was Trump who was out there saying that the election was rigged, and he did all of this, and he put it out there. It wasn't him. It was Fox News. It was CNN. CNN was covering it. I mean, this is
Trump's lawyers on Fox News, dumbass.
Sidney Powell did it. Does Sidney Powell reach 20 million people? No, Fox News does. And Fox News reported on it.
Trump was the lie.
Dev, go ahead.
So you guys are asking for examples of when Trump himself did it, right? Okay. Do you guys know what happened at the White House on December 19th, 2020?
This is the saddest live stream I've ever seen. Okay, so what I was gonna say is that, like, you think I'm scared to debate you just because I'm scared to debate you?
LOL. Between Trump, Eastman, Pence, around 20 people from Congress and about a dozen senators, where they planned out what they were going to do on January 6th. Everything was laid out in that meeting on December 19th. And by the way, that's the reason.
Was it the first time that they made a story about election interference or potential election fraud? Was that the first time?
Not the first time. No. But it was the big.
It wasn't Fox News. It wasn't CNN. It wasn't the BBC. It wasn't any of these news agencies who were finding irregularities with the election. There wasn't all of these news agencies whose job it is to cover the news who were finding the irregularities and Trump pointing to it and going, "Hey, we should look into this." That's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay, then you live in a very special kind of world.
The reality is, people from Trump's group, remember the Kraken? Now you guys like mind wipe and memory hole all the stupid shit these people said.
Oh yeah, I remember the Kraken.
Surrogate,
that didn't happen when
evidence of voter fraud, and they presented this to state legislatures and to city councils and on TV and on Trump's fucking social media, and then the media looked
that was months after the story broke in the news. Destiny. No. It was literally a month and a half after the first iterations of election fraud. The Kraken wasn't even mentioned. It wasn't mentioned in November, right after the election. It was late December when the Kraken was going to be released.
Before the election even happened, man.
Yes.
Okay. Here, I have a question for Mr. Terry. What's he doing? Is he walking in a lobby?
He's talking to somebody. He's in a lobby.
I don't know what he's doing. But
that's not a green screen. He's in a lobby.
He's actually somewhere. No, give him what you got, Dev. Ask him the question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, I have a question for you because earlier in the debate, you said something along the lines of that Trump didn't tell you to go there and he didn't tell you to do what you did, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I decided to go look this up. I didn't want to say it without confirming it because that's not the kind of guy I am. But I decided to go look it up. You do realize that in your trial, the defense you gave was that Trump told you to go there, right?
No, that was on the closing arguments, and it was very clear. If you go ahead and you go through the transcripts of it, we're saying that we were there because of the event at the Ellipse, not because the president told me to stop the certification of the election. Those are two different things.
What your attorney said was Trump told these people that the election was stolen. Trump told them to go there on January 6th, and it was Trump with his speech on January 6th that unleashed this mob on the Capitol. That's what your lawyer said.
Wow.
Okay, and if you keep reading through the context of that, he's saying that event being there, right,
and switching over to and saying, hey, we're going to go to the Capitol and I'm going to go through and say peacefully and patriotically, made everybody go over there, right? And that's what happened. It was a riot. Look, nobody disagrees. It was a riot. It was a riot that gone bad. But to go and say that it's an insurrection, it's bullshit. Come on, dude. Like things go bad, and it went bad. And look, there was a big no. Trump did not tell me.
I get it, man. I get it.
Trump said on December 19th that there was going to be a rally. I was already at the November one. I was at the December one, and I wasn't going to miss a January one.
Can you answer the question real quick though, Dev? Can you ask it again just directly? Just I want to get
because Trump did tell you to go there. You did say that.
Trump said to be there on January 6th. Yes, I was there. I don't think anybody would disagree.
Cool. Okay.
He put the event together. He didn't tell me to go.
No voices in your head or anything?
Yes, there's no voices in my head telling me. Trump wasn't in my head telling me to go.
That whole Kraken thing, that started in November. Sidney Powell was fired in December by
yeah,
Trump,
just real quick. Jesiah from Modern Politics for $10 says, Wick fact-checked the fella in the upper right-hand corner. Powell publicly talked about releasing the Kraken on November 17th. So there you go.
So if we know that Trump was calling people there, at least a month ahead of time, or around a month ahead of time, if we knew that he was telling people that the election had been stolen, that we had to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country, and then he sent a whole bunch of people...
Because that's what people believed at the time, yes. And I still believe that.
Because he told them, yes.
Because it's true.
Yes, because he told them, right? So what, and then a riot just happens to break out, I guess, as they're saying, who could have possibly... And then a riot breaks out, and then a riot breaks out. Why is it not until after Ashley Babbitt is shot and killed that Donald Trump finally tells people to go home?
You mean the person that you celebrated her death?
Why would him and Giuliani be making phone calls to Congress and telling them to change their electoral certification votes? Why wouldn't Trump call in the next?
Because they believe it was stolen and that they should. That's called lobbying. It happens every fucking day.
So
yes, you lobby somebody to change their vote. Welcome to Congress.
This is super annoying. All conservatives do this all the fucking time, right? They get fed this bullshit from all the higher ups, right? They'll get told a false narrative by Trump or by one of his associates or by Fox News or whatever. And then as justification for its truth, they'll just cite the fact that people believe it because they were lied to, right? Like if I lie to somebody and then that lie gets continually propagated, it doesn't matter that people believe it. It's still a lie, right? That doesn't change its status as a lie. But all of the time, they use the fact that a lot of people believe a thing as evidence for the thing, even though the initial thing is a lie, and that they got a bunch of people to believe it because you guys are in a cult, right?
Why is there a whip in Congress? Why is there a whip in somebody that counts votes? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like you don't know how the fuck this thing works, and you're short-hearted because you know exactly how it works, and you're playing the fucking part. You're fucking you're an idiot.
The election was stolen. You guys showed up.
Yes, I did think, and the election was stolen. Period. The election was stolen. Period. By you people. By you people. You people stole the election. That's it. That's what it is. You promoted the field dossier. You went ahead and you demonized Trump supporters for so fucking long.
There will be order in this court. There will be order in this court.
Any of the cases, any of them. He lost every single.
That's the judge. Ask the judge.
Order in the court.
$10 from Ace Chrome Cheetah to say kind of ironic, since for TARRIO, I'm sorry, I know I'm mispronouncing your name, forgive me. For TARRIO, they accused Destiny of simping for the Justice Department, since there's evidence that he had been an informant for federal and local law enforcement. Were you an informant for federal and local law enforcement?
Yes, I took down an entire sex trafficking ring in 2013. Yes, I put 30 people in fucking prison because they were a bunch of fucking pedophiles and sex traffickers. And if anybody has a problem with that, then I tell you what they're protecting, right? They're protecting fucking pedophiles and sex traffickers. So yes, I am very proud that I put 30 fucking people in prison and 2 of them are serving life terms. And I do it again. And every time that I find somebody that does some type of sexual assault shit or some sex crimes, like my buddy up there, Destiny, we'll put them in prison. And you know what happens to people like Destiny in prison? It's not nice. It's not nice. It's not nice.
I think you're misunderstanding.
You got 2 fucking civil lawsuits. You better hope you never go to prison. You know what they do to sex offenders in prison?
When they say 36, probably shit that you enjoy, I'm sure. When they say that 36 feds then were at the January 6th insurrection, you would have been counted among those, right? If you would have actually stayed overnight?
I mean, I guess if you want to count me in there, yes. But I did not inform. I went to trial. I did not inform on anybody on January 6th. You know what I did? I strapped my fucking balls in and I sat there with my fucking brothers and I went to trial and I got offered a sweetheart deal to lie about the president and I took 22 in the face. And you'd never do that for any of your friends. You'd fucking throw them under the bus. You'd throw them under the bus first chance
you
you'd
didn't
get.
say shit. That's crazy. So did you just admit that you had stuff that you could have given about Donald Trump or Roger Stone or whoever the fuck?
I don't know. I thought you were versed in all of this. I thought you were versed in all of this. I thought you were the professional. You read shit on the internet, right? Yes, they try to make me fucking lie. Yes. You know what I hope one day that you get persecuted for your fucking views and you go to prison because people like you don't survive prison. People like you don't survive prison, right? We'll put the balls off and put them inside your mouth and you'll be found in the shower. You'll be found in the shower.
We gotta take it from 11. We gotta bring it down to like an 8. Okay, just that's all I'm saying.
You know when you want 11 again.
I want my channel to remain monetized. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, mine too. What you just said, because you mentioned that.
Go ahead, Dev, please.
You had put away some pedophiles in 2013, which got good job by the way. Fair enough. With that being said, why do you still support Trump considering that he's obviously in the Epstein files?
There's a red herring. What the fuck? Let's get back to the topic. Dev or Destiny, can either of you guys answer, like out of the thousands of people that showed up that day, can you prove that they were all there because Trump directed them there? Do you have any proof of that?
Because I got a whole lot of proof. A lot of people were talking about the election being stolen and didn't Trump tell them shit.
How could we possibly prove that? What kind of proof are you looking for?
There you go.
That's your allegation. Hold on. You made the
Sorry,
claim.
guys, I'm
It's not
back.
you.
I got disconnected.
Well, so if a guy were to say, I want 10 people to come to my house
ask me a
tomorrow night,
question, answer my question.
I'm answering you fucking retard. Let me
Let
finish
Destiny
speaking,
respond.
okay?
That's not an answer. That's not a fucking answer. Ask the
If I
question.
say-
angry
You gotta prove it's yes or no. You get yes or no.
angry
shut the fuck up and let me finish. If I say 10 people come to my house tomorrow and 10 people show up at my house, maybe 11 or 12, maybe somebody brings a friend,
10
and you
dudes
say,
to
can
go
you
to your
prove,
house.
better than 10 dudes come into your mouth, you disgusting fuck, okay? You're telling me that I can't prove, I'm supposed to prove that every single
You're the
person
only
showed
one
up there
that's not
because
digging
of
here,
shit. Maybe on
Let him
camera,
answer
okay?
the- hold on.
All right?
Let him
Yeah, me
respond
ask
to your
the fucking
question,
okay?
and then
Let
you
me
can
answer the
respond.
question, okay? Let me ask the question. It's not crazy. I know it sucks dealing in the world of fact is hard for you motherfuckers, okay? How are you possibly supposed to prove that every single person shows up because of, like, Donald Trump, he announced the event and people showed up for the event and he was a speaker for the event and then they went there protesting under his name? I think it's safe to say that the vast majority of them, 99% showed up because of him.
Is that an
Okay, that's
unreasonable?
okay.
I didn't, hold on. My
That's
invitation did not say insurrection.
Just real quick.
My invitation said, hey, come to a rally.
Just real quick. I want to make sure Kung Fu Joe, did that answer your question? Why?
Your
Fuck no.
invitation.
No, it didn't. That's total fucking
Well,
cock.
you know what?
In that case, Renee Good
was great at J6.
Kung Fu Joe, I'll answer for you.
Right, Destiny?
I'll give you
Because your people are hyping up this whole ICE thing. So by your own account, Renee Good, it was good that she got shot in the face, that she deserved it, right?
Why did I say that?
Because of how you framed everything right now is, well, the president told everybody to go there, but he never pointed at anybody. But now you're demonizing ICE, and now the same thing happened on the other side. Because you said the same thing about Ashley Babbitt. You said the same thing about Ashley Babbitt.
God
So
damn
you
it,
know
I'm
what?
so
So you know
bad.
what?
Where there were congressmen together.
Well, Renee Good tried to run over an ICE agent, and she got popped in the face.
She was trying to save the scene. It's very obvious.
She got popped in the
She was
face 4 times for trying to run over.
Very obvious.
Why the
And she
fuck
wasn't
does
even armed.
Tario
At least
keep
the other one
trying
was
to
armed
pivot off
armed with a
to
Honda.
the shooting?
Away from an Antifa member named Zachary Alam. That's why she punched him in the face before going through the window.
That's really?
Yeah, really. His name is Zachary Alam. Yeah, he was an Antifa member. He broke the window that she crawled through. She was trying to get away
Absolutely.
from
And
it.
she was forced the entire way. I heard there were 3 Antifa people that carried her all the way to the front of that protest. And they
Never
were all
said that.
pushing her through that window. That's crazy, bro. That's insane. How many Antifa? It's so crazy that we've got thousands of different angles of video footage and everything else. And the best thing you could do is the Zach dude and Ray Apps. It's crazy how many instigators there were that just aren't on camera for some reason. It's crazy. And Rinny Tarrio has never mentioned anything about an instigator forcing the Proud Boys to go there. Isn't that kind of weird? It's kind of crazy, huh?
You can stop freaking out, and I can address the Antifa thing. Landon Copeland, an Antifa member, he actually gave a signed confession saying there were hundreds of Antifa there that he met with before.
Wait, who?
Landon Copeland.
No, who the fuck asked, retard? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. She tried to climb to the window on her own. We can all see it on fucking video footage. Nobody's pushing her down her fucking ass through the fucking window. You're retarded. Sorry. Done. You're done.
Wait,
Okay,
more dangerous than the woman driving the car?
I want to give Dev wanted to answer Kung Fu Joe's question. If we can get back to that for a moment. Go ahead, Dev. Answer the question if you'd like.
Just refresh my memory.
Remember the
What was your question? Go ahead.
I want to know that if he has proof of like what percentage of people showed up there because Trump told them to be there.
So I can't.
Trump announced the event.
So you can't. So you can't.
He organized it. There would be no fucking rally without Roger Stone and Donald Trump.
He retweeted. This got like over 100,000 likes. He retweeted Ivan Raiklin's tweet, where Ivan Raiklin said, "America, Mike Pence must do this tomorrow to defend our Constitution from our enemies. Big tech censorship, MSM censorship, corrupt officials at the federal, state, and local levels." And then it says, go to the. So yes, he's promoting these things. He's retweeting these things. At least some people who saw that ended up going. Yes. There's a connection.
You don't know how many.
Hold on. Just let me ask you this.
Was it more than zero?
Kung Fu Joe.
Obviously,
yes. Just real quick. Just Kung Fu Joe.
Any
Would
other
you
motivations for people to be there than Trump?
Yes, but Kung Fu Joe, can you just acknowledge that perhaps at least a majority were probably there because Trump invited him? Can we just infer that?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I think
This
there's plenty of
fucking
reasons.
this dude's retarded.
Because I have a list of reasons why it's unreasonable. There was a lot of expanded mail-in voting. That's sus. That's one. The heavy-handed.
It's sus.
Under Democrats.
It's sus.
This list is things that mostly Democrats are responsible for.
That's why you need this election certification decertified.
That's not a lot of fucking people.
Here, let me ask you this, man. So
changes to election procedures without legislative approval. Restricted poll watcher access in some urban counting centers. High voter turnout and record vote totals. Are you going to tell me that all these other things on top of like a year of COVID, like heavy-handedness, is not going to make people suspicious, right, of the Democratic Party when
but
they
we're not asking why are they suspicious of the Democratic Party. We're asking how many do you think, and you don't have to give us an exact number, percentage-wise, showed up because Donald Trump announced an event and said, "Come to this event."
Actually, here, let me ask you this. Okay, so Kung Fu Joe, are you aware that Turning Point USA was in contact with the Trump campaign to actually facilitate bringing people to DC for the event? And Charlie Kirk himself said this. He said that they were busing people in to attend this fucking event. How is that not them being brought in directly by Trump?
My point is that there's thousands upon thousands of people there, right? And the thing that you guys are alleging is that they're all there because of Trump.
I never said
that's
all.
bullshit. We don't fucking know.
I never said all.
Right. That's
okay. You can't even put a percent. Okay, put a percentage on it. What do you think it is? Can you even put a percentage on it? Honestly, no. You have no way of fucking knowing that.
Of course. If Donald Trump had made the calls to be there, if Donald Trump had made the calls to be there, the people wouldn't have shown up.
They're pissed anyway. I would. A lot
Keep
of
in
people.
mind, this is an argument about if the White House January 6th page is accurate. This fucking brainless argument is genuinely. Well, what percentage of people do you think were there because Donald Trump asked them to be?
bullshit.
Stop. Hold up. I could speak from experience here. I can speak from experience here. Destiny, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Even if Donald Trump didn't say anything, he said on November 14th and December 12th was not promoted by Trump, and there was tens of thousands of people on the ground on DC without Trump saying a fucking word. So we can stop. We can cut that shit off. We can cut that shit off. That has no merit. That has no merit whatsoever.
I also think
And he needs that. He needs that as part of his narrative. It's part of his narrative. He needs
Somebody
that.
else organized a different thing, and people went.
Nobody even knew about the January 6th date until Trump called people to protest. A November 14th protest on the night of the election.
People were talking about this all over the place, independent of Trump, and they were pissed about the stolen election. Trump said, "Oh, I'm upset about, or we're worried about mail-in voting," and everybody's like, "Oh, well, let's keep an eye on that." And then wouldn't you know it, a bunch of mail-in fraud. We're all like, "Oh, now we know what to look for."
But there was no mail-in fraud, right? Never found any of that mail-in fraud, right?
Okay, so just real quick, $10 from Josiah, Pondering Politics, to say multiple convicted January 6ers and many who pled guilty said they were there and did what they did for Trump. Check the court records. Dev can probably quote it verbatim.
Can I address that? Because that's what's called, people do that during what's called an allocution. It's basically throwing yourself at the mercy of the court. It's basically, I'm sorry, I was a bad boy. When it comes to federal sentencing, you have a sentencing guideline based on an arbitrary number system. If you accept responsibility for your crime, you typically get a 3-point reduction in your sentence. But if you show no remorse, then you can get a 3-point enhancement. It might sound arbitrary, it is, but that's a 6-point difference in your sentencing, and that can be a huge disparity in how much time you do. And especially when you consider most of these guys were like blue-collar guys, or they had wives and families to get home to. They were trying to do whatever they could to get home as soon. It's also why even more people took plea deals and actually put the government to its burden at trial.
It's a humiliation ritual, not law.
Yep.
It is.
So it's not a humiliation.
Yes, it is. When you're doing forcing.
So they can literally say, "I was there because of Donald Trump," and you wouldn't trust it.
Destiny, respond to this. Destiny, go
Trying to
ahead.
put the blame on somebody else is like the opposite point of a fucking allocution statement. The whole point of allocution is that you're supposed to show you're taking responsibility for whatever the fuck else. So if you would do an allocution statement, you would say, "Well, it's just because of Donald Trump," the whole fucking time.
Welcome to DC. Welcome to the DC circuit. Yeah, welcome to the federal circuit in Washington D.C., where they want you to throw Trump in. Before the snake in the jail with me, Tom Civic, he got released on bond because he wrote a letter to the judge saying, "I'm sorry, I supported Trump. I'm Antifa now. I'm a good boy."
I'm sure.
Why
did they charge people?
Can I ask a question here?
Look it up. I'm giving you his name. Tom Civic, look it up. I don't need to make this up. I have enough experience with this. I'm not making it up. I'm giving you the defendant's name. It actually happened. Look it up. Actually, according to the NPR, yeah, but look it up. Tom Civic wrote a letter. His judge released him out on bond. His restrictions were that he couldn't watch Fox News and far-right content. But yeah, he was saying that we were culpable in the jail because we sang the national anthem.
That's not the same thing.
Yeah,
that's fine. If you're radicalized by far-right content,
so I got a question for Dustin.
That's fine.
Since he said that, I got tried by a member of my jury, I want to go back in the time machine really quick, and I want to give him the same example, and I want to see if he feels the same way. Pre-civil rights era, and even after civil rights era, in the South, specifically in Alabama, there was a lot of black African-American defendants that got sentenced to not life in prison, they got sentenced to death, and they went to trial, and ever since then, a lot of them have been overturned. But because the reason why they were overturned, it was because it was a white racist jury as members of the jury, which were clearly, and they had said that they hate N-words. So in that case, can you say that those people that got death sentences in the state, we'll focus on the state of Alabama, would you say that they got fair trials too?
I would say probably not.
Okay.
Do you have evidence that the jury came out and was making statements like, "I hate all Trump supporters and I'm going to convict all Trump supporters," or?
Destiny, I have a couple of those examples that are worse. When the judge in my case asked, and 3 individuals did the same exact thing.
Did any of the jury come out and say anything like this?
Did the jury? Yes, they did. As a matter of fact,
they came out and said that we hate all Trump.
Dude, no, they said worse than that. They asked, "Do you know about Enrique Tarrio and the Proud Boys?" And they said yes. "Do you have strong feelings towards Enrique Tarrio and the Proud Boys?" Yes. "What are those strong feelings?" And describe them. Nazis, anti-Semitic, racist, all sorts of things. Okay. Based on those strong feelings, can you, as a member of the jury, judge this case, set those feelings aside and judge this case by the evidence and the evidence alone? Do you know what those 3 people said? They said no. They said no. They said no. And the very next day, we did. We tried. Believe me, when somebody says that, we did try. The very next day and the day after that, those 3 members of the jury were put right back on the stand and asked the same question. And if you've ever been in that position, the judge sits on a podium this tall with a black robe, very menacing, and asks, "Are you sure?" And all 3 of them said yes the very next day. After already saying no, they said hard no, there wasn't no if, ands, or maybes. And they were allowed to sit in my trial. During the trial, the foreman of the jury, we protest Drag Queen Story Hour all the time. We asked if he was politically active. He said no. After the trial, actually months after the trial, months after my sentencing, we find out that this gentleman puts together Drag Queen Story Hours in the DC area, an area known for Proud Boys protesting Drag Queen Story Hour, and specifically one of his events. So people can hate me all they want, but the process wasn't fair. And this happened many, many, many times over. So I'd encourage you to rethink your position when it comes to my conviction.
I'm gonna let Destiny and Dev respond to that. And then I have Josiah really wants me to read these out. So once Destiny and Dev respond to that, I'm gonna read something from Pondering Politics, Josiah, and then that's the order we'll go into. Go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to find information about this Thomas Civic guy who assaulted the police officer.
T-O-M-S-I-B-I-C-K.
No, yeah, but are you saying that he got out on bond because he wrote some letter saying that he was Antifa now or whatever?
I said Antifa facetiously. He said he was no longer a conservative or Trump supporter. He was a liberal, and that was I believe it should have been September. Would have been in September of 2021. He wrote a letter.
Find this letter or whatever.
I can look it up. Hold on.
No one. Well, okay. While you guys are looking that up, so here's what Josiah has to say. He says TARRIO said Trump had nothing to do with the November 14th, 2020 Million MAGA March, but here he is the day before, hyping it up and saying he'd show up, and he made an appearance with his motorcade. The tweets he's referring to is on the 13th of November, 2020. He says, heartwarming to see all the tremendous support out there, especially the organic rallies that are springing up all over the country, including a big one on Saturday in D.C. I may even try to stop by and say hello. This election was rigged from Dominion all the way up and down. And then he also, yeah, that's what he says on the 13th of November.
Hey guys, sorry to cut in here, and sorry to cut in on your thing. I got to run. I got another event that I got to go to. I really got to say I appreciate you for putting this together. I appreciate my brother Tim Hale, everybody else on this. Destiny, thank you for being here. Dev, thank you guys. Appreciate you. I'll be back if you guys want to do this again. I'm open.
Okay. Have a great day. Thank you for coming.
Keep in touch with yourself.
I will touch myself.
No, not on screen.
Hey, I got that. I got a link to that letter. I'm trying to put it in the chat, but it's not pulling up. Can I do the screen share? Or is that what I should do?
Baker.
Send me the link and I will put it on screen.
Don't look at it.
Alrighty.
Don't look back at me like that.
Just DM it to me directly, please.
You got it.
And now he freezes.
I'm opening it up.
Hamster internet at its best.
I'm gonna share. What am I looking at here?
Oh, that's the handwritten.
Twitter. I do my own research. Let's go.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, there's a
Be
handwritten.
able to read.
Yeah, if you don't see it, click on the share button, bro. Or view stream or something.
Read it, Wick.
Okay, this is from Julie Kelly. There's one get out of jail free card. Write a letter to Trump loathing judge like Amy Berman Jackson, condemning Trump, and have the defense lawyer accuse January 6 detainees of acting like cult members. Tom Civic, charged with same crimes as many others in D.C. Gitmo, first detainee. And this is, he writes, it's cursive. Give me a second. Your Honor, my name is Thomas Civic, and in an attempt to provide an understanding of who I am, I felt compelled to write because my conduct on January 6th was unequivocally an aberration of the high moral standards I hold myself to. What happened at the United States Capitol that day does not provide an adequate representation of my character. Although I strive for excellence, I will be the first to admit that I am not perfect. My life has been full of joyful times, However, there have been a fair share of growing pains, none more significant than what I am currently experiencing. The shame, dishonor, and regret endured are without question the worst emotions ever experienced. I disagree with what occurred that fateful day, especially the trauma suffered by Officer Michael Ferron? I'm not sure the name. It is without question unconscionable. January 6th was a disgrace to our nation that felt a sea of, I don't know this word, Trump is ultimately responsible for. But we are strong and will heal from it. While many praise Trump, I loathe him. His words and actions are nefarious, causing pain and harm to the world. He is not a leader and should not be should be ostracized from any political future. What he honestly needs to do is go away. Throughout my incarceration, I have had ample time for self-reflection, which has enabled me to grow and become more cognizant of my being, ultimately having a profound impact on my core values. I have vowed to never attend another political protest in my life. That was my first and last. In addition, I will never allow myself to be consumed by the mob mentality. It is dangerous.
So if you're looking to show your risk for reoffense is low, and you went to a riot to decertify the election results on the grounds of being a Trump supporter, would it not help to say, I'm not a Trump supporter and I vow not to go back to political protest? How does that not show a change in character? That's what the whole point of that letter is.
I give irrefutable assurance to the court that if I am released, I will without hesitation abide by any and all conditions set forth. All I desire is peace, reconciliation, and unity. We must all work together to build back a better nation. Sincerely, Thomas Civic.
And then what was the date for this letter?
Filed. It was filed on October 18th, 2021. I don't see
it would have been sometime. I believe it was in September that he was
I don't see a date here.
He was a jailhouse snitch, so he was gathering information on people. He ended up going to the hole for sexually assaulting another man, and then he got bail. Funny enough,
it's a yikes.
The big yikes.
It's a yikes.
As long as he renounced his own feelings and thoughts and paid tribute to the left.
I'm just out of my curiosity. Maybe I got lost reading that. What was the point of the letter? Like, where are we?
So his claim was that this guy was able to get out on bond. So this doesn't mean that he got out of any charges or anything, but because he wrote a letter saying he hated Trump and he's Antifa, or he threw Trump under the bus, basically. It sounds like he's writing a letter to try to say that he's not a public threat anymore, and he recognizes the wrong of his actions, and he's not going to, I guess, try to be a threat. He's just trying to get out on bond. He's not escaping his actual case.
It also served a secondary purpose of framing those of us who were still in there as creating a radicalized environment. So another part of this is the pleadings of his lawyer, who was saying that because we had a tradition in the jail of singing the national anthem at 9 o'clock every night, it created a toxic environment. He was being bullied and compelled to sing the anthem. And the judge wanted to save him from this toxic environment, and she appreciated that he was going out of his way to avoid radicalism. So that was that. He did end up getting a lower sentence than his
Why?
co-defendants had.
I'm
you
just
should've
wondering,
rioted
why the
then.
fuck should we trust his characterization of that if he just lied about what that letter was? I'm sorry. You have no credibility to establish something like that. You have to, these people should be obligated to send sources on everything all the time, ever. I have no reason to trust this dude.
What's that?
You shouldn't have rioted then.
What's that in response to?
Every single thing that I've heard for the past 5 minutes. Like, I don't care about the sob story. You were there. You fucked up. You should still be in jail.
You talking about him?
What do you think?
Yeah,
I'm talking about you.
I'm just curious. Who published this? How did they get this letter? Who published this letter?
That's a court file. You can see the case file number at the top of the letter. So it usually would go on something like.
Oh, so you write a letter for a bond or whatever. It'll be a part of your court proceedings. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, gang, we are kind of circling the drain just a little bit here, just a little bit. Is there anything like that you guys think that we haven't covered yet that we should?
I have a question for Dev.
Oh, go ahead.
So Dev, I've been thinking on this a lot, and it seems like obviously this is a controversial issue. It's hot. Would you agree that anybody who is nonviolent in either the J6 or the BLM or any
This dude's fucking retarded. I can't watch any more of this. I'm so done. I can't. I have a headache. I'm gonna go maybe take a nap, do something that won't give me a headache.